What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to week number 4 of the KCM. We've got Best versus Sock to start us off here in game number 1. Let's get it going. Oh, what happened to the music? Oh, that's strange.
Yeah.
I don't hear any game sounds. There we go. There they are. Alright, just a little delay there. But looks like everything is in order. And here's our lineup. It's looking fantastic today. We've got Sock, Light, Royal, Bisu, Best, Shuttle, Queen, Hero, and Soul Key. Pretty good, eh?
That's a pretty monstrous lineup. Yeah, I mean, Sock's been playing like fire recently. Really good to see Hero back on the roster as well. He's an exceptionally good player, very well-rounded player, can pretty much do everything. Queen and Soul Key, Bisu, Best, these players like Royal need no introduction. We've seen how well they can play in these previous weeks, so looking really forward to seeing these games here soon.
Now we've got Sock coming out first. He has been the MVP recently for Terran and performing every single week. Definitely deserving his spot here on this Terran squad, which has been so powerful lately. There's plenty of other choices. You know, JYJ, current ASL champion, he's missing here, but Sock is just playing so well as of late. You cannot pass him up right now. I'm going to be watching him very closely in the coming ASL.
Yeah, I think everyone should. He's been performing really well recently. I really would like to see him continue that effort here. He's against Best, and he's got a gas steal here on Dark Origins, so it's going to be a little bit tricky for him to navigate, but I'm sure of his caliber, he will be able to have some kind of good response to this. He's pretty expected to get gas stolen on a 2-player map, so I can't imagine there would be a world where he hasn't got something very specific planned out in dealing with this going forward. It's going to be sending SCV Scout into the natural expansion area, confirming this forward gateway from Best as well to help better prepare for the follow-up silent pressure and maybe identify what the build from Best is going to be. It's going to be throwing down the engineering blade blocks there.
The which, sorry? Oh, engineering
throwing down the
block.
engineering blade block, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Gonna be dropping in this. There is a Zealot popping out right away though, so they won't be able to put too much health on that, but and the Zealot's also gonna cut down this engineering bit pretty much as fast as you could hope for, but it's still going to be annoying here. Like that play, just getting something back from all of this harassment that's been going down with this early probe. He's had to pull multiple SCVs, forcing them off the line and just running around trying to stop that from going down. So, you know, getting something back here is nice. We've got the command center on the way now. The eBay was cancelled, and actually the Nexus and CC are going to start at pretty much the same time overall, and going for a gasless fast expand here. It's been the standard for a little while in this matchup. Pretty much everybody has been loving this build. All the Terran players, all the returning Terran players, including Fantasy, Flash, and others, have been really loving this build as of late. Oh, looks like a Zealot gonna run by. 2 Zealots actually gonna run straight past this bunker. That SCV didn't have enough health to body block there. Would have just been gunned down, so it gets moved to the side. And now we're gonna have to hold this in the main. We're gonna have to test Sock's skill here. Micro on multiple fronts with multiple Marines against 2 Zealots in the main. He's doing a great job so far. The control has been absolutely on point. Handling this very well.
Really stellar control. Yeah, he only lost 1 SCV previously, and now he's going to lose a Marine, 2 Marines, so 2 Marines and a single SCV for those 2 Zealots that got run by like that. It's actually pretty nice cleanup from Sock. It's a little bit unfortunate that he didn't stop the Zealots getting in that deep initially, but he handled that pretty exceptionally well. Only losing the single SCV, I believe, and then those 2 follow-up Marines, so couldn't have gone much better for him. And like we were saying earlier about the CC timing with the Nexus being more or less aligned, it's looking pretty comfortable for Sock going forward here.
I think we're gonna see a starport after this. Some of the ways that Sock has been impressing me the most is with his starport play, whether that be with Wraiths or with dropships. Do you think we're going to see a starport here?
I think it's less likely because of how delayed this factory is. It'll be hard to surprise Best with a timing like that. It's possible he may still go for it, but we see a very fast Citadel from Best, so this kind of seems indicative of a very fast timing, either with the Dark Templars or maybe very fast Zealot Bulldog timing. I think it's very likely to be Dark Templars. It could also be a very fast 2-base Arbiter play with this kind of timing, but I think it's more likely to be Dark Templars.
Well, we've got the Robo. Yeah, DT drop. How are we going to defend here? As Terran, how are we going to defend as Sock? Well, we've got double Comsat. Hopefully he gets a scan right away. Oh, there's the scan. He sees everything. All right. Well, this is not going to work.
Yeah, unfortunately, but just it doesn't necessarily mean the end of the road for Best here, because like I was saying earlier, you can transition this into a 2-base Arbiter play, so the Templar tech is still fine, we can still utilize that later on, but the real benefit of this build was going for that DT drop in the main, causing absolute havoc and mayhem, but now Sark sees that, will be very well prepared in dealing with that. The Best may not commit to it as a result of being scanned, whether or not he was aware of that scan timing. I'm not sure if he knows he's been spotted or not. He might still just go for it unaware that he's been spotted, but I think it's very likely that maybe he does know it's coming, and he'll either try and double bluff and still go for it, even though Sark is assuming he won't fully commit to it and only be half defended for it. But I think it's more likely that both players will kind of adjust slightly now going forward, and Sark will prepare for it no matter what, and Best will probably maybe slightly do something differently, or maybe just go for it anyway.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a couple of Goliaths pop out here soon. Some turrets going up. Not as many turrets as you would. Oh, there we go. We got a turret in the main finally. A couple of turrets going down in the main, and vultures laying down mines in the base as well can really shut that down. I like what you're saying, going for a transition into Arbiter. It's definitely viable. We're gonna have a Observer coming out here. We're just gonna skip over Reaver Tech, go directly into Arbiter. Makes sense. Hopefully Best will be able to transition this smoothly here into a 3-base Arbiter, but I think that the scouting so far has been immaculate, and Sock getting over here, just looking at the 3rd base, getting some damage on this pylon. He may even pick off this pylon, actually. He's really on top of everything so far this game. He's handled the Zealot play perfectly. He's going to get a Dragoon as well, trading that for a single Vulture. Just immaculate play thus far, and I don't know if Bez can headbutt his way through this Terran player. It seems that is his style, but this player seems to be far and away more technically accurate than anybody else, and he's gonna kill this Observer. No scan.
Sark's playing like an absolute madman right now. He needs to be careful that he doesn't throw away too many of these vultures, because it will open him up to counterattack from Best. Best, like you say, very good at that aggressive style of play where you just have lots of speed zealots, shuttles for zealot bombs, and maybe some high templars for storm later on, but really just focusing on that pure like man-lot way of playing, kind of like how you'd see Reach back in the day. Like really aggressive style of play, focusing on just 1 or 2 control groups of Dragoons and the rest pretty much just Zealots and Shuttles, maybe some High Templars to add some splash damage. But yeah, Best is really good at cracking Terrans open with that kind of style of play, that kind of gateway man style, and he may be even able to intercept this shuttle, this dropship if he's clever enough. He's shuffling his goons all the way up to the top right, like he knows exactly the trajectory of that. He's now going to spot it with the Observer rotating back around to the middle, so he's on the hunt for this dropship, and he may be able to get it. He's got a few Dragoons on the left side as well, kind of try to pincer this dropship on both angles. Might get enough volleys on it. One more shot will do it, and he gets it as well soon.
Ooh, shutting down that drop play. Back at home, he already has cannons and Dragoons in position, so I don't think that was going to get too much damage regardless, but Sock threw it out there, wanted to give it a try. Only lost a couple of vultures in that, so I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world, but that threat being removed from the map means that Best can now get out here and stand basically on the other side of the bridges right now and force Sock to be really, really careful in how he takes his third base. He's starting to push forward here. But like you said, the man lot may come across that bridge and just take over this third base if Sock doesn't push very, very carefully. Set up all the mines, set up all the turrets, slowly move forward with the tanks, and take this base with the utmost care.
Yeah, so far Best doing a good job of navigating his way around the right side of the map now with these Dragoons coming up to the third base ramp location. As we see here, Sock trying to secure this by sieging up his tanks in a nice little spread out line close to those bridges on the left hand side, but also tucking in from the water to the mineral line to cover the right side with this ramp where Best could, if he wanted to, start coming down there and putting a lot of pressure onto Sock. So Sock kind of having to spread himself a little bit thinly here to make sure he's set up on all angles. It's going to be very detrimental for him in the next few moments because Best can just come in here and crack him right open. You see this little great wall of Sock right now being set up as he throws down these supply depots, well aware of the impending doom that could be coming his way, and it is coming his way. Best now starting to stream down on his right hand side. He's going to come down the ramp and see these supply depots. He may still commit to his attack regardless because he's going to get one of the supply depots down right away. The other supply depot does finish, and here it comes Best with the shuttle support as well. There's only 5 tanks here on this right hand side with a few vultures, while Scion Storm coming down as well, blanketing some of those Terran units on the right hand side. And as the Terran forces come from the west hand flank, I think they might be able to defend this position if he can get his tanks spread out enough. But there's beautiful storms coming out from Best, more and more damage being done to these tanks. These Terran units getting really softened up, and Best could just come in here and break Sock completely in half right now, saying.
The storm dodge is not quite on point there. In that fight, Dragoons are running low in number, but look at this, he's gonna two-shot another couple of tanks here. Does force him back. Looks like Sock may end up holding this in the end, but this has been a serious reset to the tank count. We've lost a ton of vultures. There's another rally of zealots just streaming across the map right now. There's hardly any units here. Dropping below 100 supply is Sock. He's gonna lose these tanks as well. We're gonna have another psionic storm most likely. Nice mine drag there into these tanks. A lot of zealots coming in here, and this is just the headbutt of Best, smashing the face of this Terran player right now. SCV's even coming forward to try and block. We're gonna have another storm here though soon. I'm afraid for these SCVs when that storm comes out. It's threatening, walking forward here threateningly, menacingly, that Templar, but it looks like he doesn't have the energy just yet. Now a round of Dragoons gonna make their way forward. I think that Sock will hold on, but oh my god, he's just gonna run through these mines, try to drag one onto the tank. Not able to do it, but just still pushing forward across these bridges. Best relentless here, and he's taking another base in the bottom left.
Yeah, as soon as there's blood in the water, he just gets a whiff of it, and he just keeps hammering his head into their face until there's some kind of resistance, and then he's like, okay, I'll let you go. He's like a big giant silverback gorilla just trying to like pummel you into submission, and as soon as you can kind of stand your ground, he like lets you go for a while. Then he kind of like runs away into the jungle, and you're wondering what just happened. All of a sudden he comes back out and right in for round number 2, grabs you by the limbs and just tears you apart like a ragdoll.
That's a good description. Very visual. I love it. We got Best here, the silverback, heading his army down towards the bottom left. Just gonna clean up these vultures here, get his mining running on that 5th base, and I don't know, man. I think that first engagement went a little bit too well for Best. I think that Terran's gonna really struggle from this spot with double Arbiter production coming up here. even though he has secured this third base, this critical third base, he has a long road to recovery from here. Oh, shuttle coming in, gets shut down. Oh, doesn't even drop out a single Templar or whatever was in there. I'm not sure what was in that shuttle. It could have been, you know, 2, 3 Templar. Gets shut down instantly, so that's a good comeback mechanic for Sock for sure. It's gonna make a difference here.
It's safe to assume there was at least 1 or 2 High Templars in that shuttle for sure, definitely. It's very. One thing I'd like to point out actually, that Sark actually has 4 mining gas on this third base. He's really serious about trying to catch up in his gas count a little bit here, and he understands that he's not fully optimizing the gas mining at that location. He isn't getting the full 300 a minute with just 3. Here comes Best, though. Hold the phone. He wants to just come across this ramp of just nothing but pure Zealot goon. This is absolute madness right now what Best is trying to accomplish. And I don't think he cares. He just wants to come in here. I'm not sure it's the right decision, but he's going to go for it anyway. It's a huge big tank line set up on the southeastern threshold here, just gunning down everything that tries to come across these bridges. They're arc like cannons. Zealots don't seem to mind. They're just running forward, big manlots with big side blades just cutting through this Terran metal as the face structures of these Dragoons also make short work of some of these tanks. But so far, Sark doing a great job of holding the line and breaking even on that supply count more and more. Best not seeming to mind. He has like 5 bases worth of production right now. I think he wants to just keep hammering on the gates and play a little bit of Sauron Protoss style, just throwing units at Sark until he just like finally has had enough and won't be able to hold on any longer. But I think kind of Best has pulled the trigger a little bit too early here, Sayed, and maybe we'll have a little bit of a hard time continuing the onslaught if he gives Sark a little bit of a room to breathe here. I think Sark can actually really stabilize and start to come out on the map.
The headbutt toss. Going in for the headbutt once again, just not really making it work there though. Sock takes too good of a trade, and now he's going to be able to move out on the map. I'm shocked that Best didn't think it was a good idea to just, you know, wait for the Terran player to come out. You know, he's sitting here on 3 bases while Best is on 5, but he tries to pull the trigger anyway. Oh, gonna pick off that Templar. That's huge. He gets the shuttle and the Templar as they popped out, but too many Zealots here and too many of the Vultures have died, so able to get a few of those tanks, but still Sock, he's alive here. He's holding the middle of the map. He's gonna get another rally coming forward, and then he can get onto the low ground here and start to shell these probes up here on this high ground. This is a huge moment for Sock, able to shut down this base. Best though, he's gonna be able to come over here onto the right hand side and stop the 4th of Sock. So Sock gonna have to lift off and hurry away from this location. Oh, a ton of SCVs coming up here. He needs to evacuate these SCVs and the command center ASAP. Oh no! Oh, that was so painful.
I don't think he lost all the SCVs, but enough of them died there. So this is actually craziness what we're seeing here. Sark absolutely in dominant position of taking the center location and denying any mining being done at this 9 o'clock position. Will probably kill the Nexus as well if Best can't come out and do something about this now. He has got the supply to make something happen now, but he hasn't got the position. He has got some arbiters coming down. He has energy to stasis or recall. It looks like they're moving down into position to maybe go for a recall into the main base. It looks like they've got about 130 or so energy banked up, so it looks like you might be going for a big recall play into the main base of Sark, get on top of the Terran production and try and cut off the head of the snake while Sark is currently out in the middle of the map and Best is not currently willing to engage him head on. So this might be the play from Best to go for this big recall play into the main base here as one big effort to try and get on top of this Terran production, just absolutely destroy him. There's a Vulture spotting these arbiters coming now, so he's gonna have some notice of this coming. Vulture's now retreating back to the main base. Tanks getting set up in preparation for this as well. Here comes the 2 arbiters, both with enough energy to recall soon.
Oh my god, that's huge recalls. And Storms on the ramp as well. Oh, this is just hot death for a Terran player. Having a massive Protoss army in your main base with Templar and Storm to stop you from retreating, but it looks like the Templar have been cleaned up. We've got Goliath coming back in here. You know, Sock is doing a good job of bringing his army back, and I think he's actually going to clean this up without too much trouble, but can he hold the middle of the map at the same time? He's going to get both of these arbiters. Here comes a lot of Zealots. to clean this up, and it looks like Best can push through. Sock just gonna have to run with the remainder of these tanks. As he cleans up the main, though, he's gonna bring his main army back to the front. Oh, geez, this is a really rough game right now. I mean, he did such a good job so far. But Best, he just has so much. He's got that base in the bottom left, plenty of probes mining down there, and Sock just has lost so many SCVs. I think he lost that command center at the 4th, and he got stormed there, transferring and not paying attention to that small group of SCVs. So he is really lacking on SCVs here. Coming forward, a big round of Zealots gonna hit this army as he crosses the bridge, and this is what I was expecting from Best, is right as you're coming across the bridge to get just smack down the Terran player. But wow, actually held on very, very well here, even though we've got some great stasis. Still a few tanks left alive. Oh god, these mines though, cleaning up the majority of those units. I didn't see the units coming in from the right hand side until the last moment there, and neither did Sock. GG, he taps out our MVP from week number 2, and week number 3 has been eliminated. Sock taps out. Bisu going to move forward. Impressive games from Best, don't you think?
Absolutely insane. Best is really a silverback gorilla. Like it looked like Sark was this like a majestic hunter that really had everything mapped out. He had the jungle completely like the back of his hand. He knew everything. But this big majestic silverback gorilla was more than he could handle. And he got a few shots off on the gorilla, right? And the gorilla retreated into the jungle, and he thought, I had him. He started tracking the blood trail through the jungle, finding this majestic beast that lurked within, but he just kept coming back and just manhandling Sark over and over again. He ran out of bullets, saying, and he got absolutely obliterated.
Yeah, it took one wrong step in the jungle, and the silverback gorilla beat him down. Headbutts all around. Well done, Best. We're gonna jump into game number 2. Game number 2, and Queen is being sent out here to take on the silverback gorilla that is Best, spawning in the top right. We are on retro. And what are your predictions for this map, Shin?
Well, it is horizontal spawns, so this isn't I don't know, it's hard to say. This map is not very good for ZVP in my opinion. These narrow bridges, narrow chokes, easy to take third bases can be problematic for Zerg, but someone of Queen's caliber, we know, as we were just saying before we started this game, he's very strong long game player, so would be interesting to see if he can get all the way into a late game position against Best. Best will probably consider going Forge Fast expansion here, but he has been recently experimenting more with Gateway First, so giving that it's retro as well, I'm not sure how he feels about this map and how comfortable he is against Queen in his early game. I don't think, like you were saying before, I don't think Queen will necessarily go for a bust, but if Best went for a Forge Fast expansion here, then it's very likely that you might be seeing a 973 or something, but instead we're going to be seeing this really fast double scout Forge Fast expand from Best, like I thought maybe he would go for, but we're going to see a pull first from Queen, so he's not going to be getting away with any kind of like cannon rush shenanigans. But it looked like he wanted to go for it maybe if Queen was going to throw out the 11 hatch. But unfortunately for Best, not going to be catching off Queen with that and bettering him, so it's like Queen's getting the better end of the stick here.
Yeah, it is looking like Best wants to do some sort of cannon rush. Alternatively, maybe a Nexus before cannon would be a possibility, but he's going to have to throw down a cannon here if this spawning pool finishes and Queen sends links straight across the map. It's not that long of a rush distance, you got to be careful here. Make sure you have those cannons up and ready. And I'm gonna send the probes back home. Get the Nexus here. Oh, he is gonna grab the Nexus first. So he's gonna cut it pretty close here. Lings are already in the eggs. Gonna be popping out shortly. Cannon is about to come down, cutting some probes here just to make sure he can get this cannon out in time. There it is. Cannon gonna come down here. This is interesting, right? Like, we've got the cannon a bit far back from the wall here. Is there enough space for another cannon in front of that? It kind of looks like it.
Yeah.
But if he's only got those cannons there, and Queen sees the positioning of those cannons, I feel like it's pretty tempting to try and bust this.
Yeah, not anymore. There's not. He just made the gateway in such a way that there's not enough space. Yeah, it's kind of a very bustable position. I think maybe Best understands that and he wants it. If he is going to be busted, he wants a far enough back cannon line that he can retreat to. So he'd probably be wanting to sacrifice the front wall and just remake the forge in the main and just make another back line of cannons to fall back to after the wall is busted open as like a last resort against the bust from Queen. But I don't think we'll necessarily see that transpire. We'll have to see if Queen wants to go for that. We're going to be seeing where he puts this gas momentarily. With this probe scout not being denied like this, though, I doubt he's going to go for a bust. He's just going to throw down the lair like we see here.
Yeah, the probe really negates the possibility of the bust. You're watching for that layer, and as soon as he sees the layer, he knows that it's unlikely that we're going to have Hydras coming into the natural here early on, but Queen gonna take the base in the center left. That base is very, very defendable, and I'm not sure if I agree with what you were saying before that it's a difficult map for ZVP. Just personally, I think it's kind of even when it comes to this matchup, because if you get some lurkers and spores on high ground in some of these positions, it's incredibly hard for Protoss to bust up into as well. And there's kind of two sides to that coin. The tight areas around the map as well. If you set up a nice lurker line in those tight areas, it's so hard for the Protoss to get through as well. We'll see how this one goes, but I'm expecting a late game here out of Queen, and he's going to show us the way how to abuse Protoss on this map, I think.
Yeah, I think the caveat to what I was saying early on might be that I would say it's Protoss favored in the early to mid game, but the later the game goes on, the more the map becomes balanced and maybe even slightly favoring Zerg towards the very final phases of the game. Because like you say, with the way that the geometry of the map is set up, it is very hard for Protoss to also attack into these expansions with good lurker setups. But in the mid game phase, I would say Protoss has the advantage because of how easy their third gases to secure, and these tight chokes make the Psionic Storm value increasing. Oh, hang on though, he's doing a great job of microing these drones. That was a single drone to this Zealot pressure from Best, so Queen doing a great job of not losing a single drone. I think though with Best, had he controlled that a little bit better, he could have maybe sniped that one drone. Great play from Queen, not allowing any of those drones to go down. Now Corsair for Best could be confirming the tech timing in the main base and natural, seeing the macro hatchery as well. It's going to be having like 5 to 6 hatchery Hydra production. Is taking the second gas as well, so maybe he wants to go straight into lurkers and not go into 6 hatch Hydra. Or it could be him wanting to maybe come into a little bit of an Ogre Zerg style potentially. We'll have to see how he wants to commit to that going forward. He has both options available to him though, Sam. What do you think?
I don't know what he's going for, but I think he might have missed it. He's gone for double Stargate, Best has, so losing that first Corsair is actually a big deal, but it might bait Queen into going for some Mutas here, and there's going to be so many Corsairs this game. He's going to be getting that upgrade. He's going to be getting +1. Oh, tracking down the second Corsair would be huge. If he can get 2 Corsairs in this early game, oh, it's going to be so painful for Best, and it looks like he might be able to track it down. Oh, poor Scourge. So blind. Not able to find that.
Yeah, Scourge have a very, very low vision range comparatively to pretty much anything else. So the Corsair was able to see the Scourge way before the Scourge were able to see the Corsair, so able to dodge out of their vision range quite nicely there was Best. But the trajectory of those Scourge was pretty spot on from Queen. He kind of sussed out the exact flight path of that Corsair, was about to find it. Now we see like quite a big fleet of Corsairs moving to the north and of the map. 2 Scourge going to connect with that Corsair and take it out though. And now, which if he can somehow reduce this Corsair count just a little bit more. At the moment, only 5 Corsairs of +1. They can just barely one-shot Scourge with perfect target firing. With 6, it's much easier to one-shot the Scourge. You don't have to get perfect synchronized shots. So looks like this is working out pretty well for Best so far, because he's able to supply block Queen quite significantly. But Queen doing a very good job here, saying I'm shutting down the mining, killing some probes as well. So it's kind of going both ways, with only 1 base worth of economy coming in for Best now, also losing some probes in the main base. But I would say overall this is slightly favoring Queen if he can somehow do enough probe damage without losing any more overlords here.
Yeah, this is kind of a wild situation. But great moves from Queen. You know, he got baited into making these mutas, and he should have been completely shut down. But he, as soon as the Corsairs go across the map, goes into the main base and just gets a ton of kills on these probes. So evening things out by quite a lot. He's even got some Scourge over here, not focusing on killing the Corsairs that are in his main. But now the Corsairs are back at home are actually enough to deal with the these mutas that have come in, and so Best's gonna push that back. Hydras are now out in a high enough number as well to maybe protect the Overlords. So things have really evened out. Some probes were traded for a bunch of Overlords, and now both players have got enough defenses back at home to deal with their respective attackers. But do we have Templar ready for Best? Because this Hydra attack could be deadly. A lot of Hydras coming up here, and the cannons are not done. Is he gonna die right here?
It's possible. He's going to dive on this front cannon, which is going to be really problematic for Best. Now this whole wall is completely exposed. He can focus down this forge, deny the upgrade if it's quick enough, but it doesn't want to. He just wants to come in straight away and bust down this cannon line right away. There is a DT, though, to get rid of this attack, so unfortunately he won't be able to commit to finish him off. With this DT, Best will be able to repel this attack for the time being, but great effort from Queen. They're trying to look for any opportunity to pounce on Best. Maybe he could have just sniped down that forge stone, denied the upgrade, but been a much more cost-efficient engagement for him.
Yeah, that was a little bit of an oversight there by Queen. The fact that he doesn't have any Overlords and he doesn't have Overlord speed, meaning that attack was never actually going to end up working. This is so annoying. Looks like gonna split off one Corsair to go and deal with that singular Mutalisk hitting these probes. He's got 7 kills now. He's done a great job here in this natural base. Forge is going to go down at the front. The Hydras are here, but I think we've got Storm by now. And 2 Templars, so shouldn't be able to break through this area.
No, good little blanket of Storm there, and a Storm dodge to follow up and losing any of those Hydras. And yeah, that one Muta shutting down that mining and picking away the probes looks like some of my 3v3 BGH games. You always see stuff like that. It's kind of hard not to laugh at it, right?
Yeah, for sure. Looks like... Go ahead.
I was going to say, we're going to go up to probably 8 gateways worth of production here from Best. He needs to put on some pressure soon, because Queen really wants to start to ramp up now. Queen's in a pretty good position, but he will start to grow quite exponentially. He'll have a lot of Hydra, Lurker, Battle Zerg style. He will be wanting to put on a lot of pressure to Best and basically try and sniff out for when Best wants to try and take this 3rd base, because he knows that Best wants to try and exploit out into a beautiful catch from Queen, catching this Dark Templar that was at the 3 o'clock position, which is really good for him. Now that Dark Templar's not in the equation anymore, Queen could be a lot more aggressive and put the pressure on, just set up like a little soft contain here, and then maybe navigate his way into containing Best in the coming phases of the game, making it a nightmare situation for Best to come out and try and take his 3rd base. And meanwhile, Queen will take his 4th base, most likely in the natural expansion bottom left as well. Okay, yeah, he's going to take the main in the bottom left, sorry, excuse me. So this is actually really good for Queen going forward here. He's going to set up a nice contain, and following that, he's not going to really have too much pressure to have to worry about going forward, especially knowing that this DT is not going to be out on the map.
I mean, the dust is kind of settled here after all of the early game aggression, and Queen is standing on the top of the pile. He's got 114 supply to 84 of Best. Best is trying to get his gateway count up. He spent a lot of money on cannons at the front, and he lost so many probes to those Mutalisks earlier on it's kind of ridiculous to think about, because a player who went double Stargate lost like a crazy number of probes to Mutas. It just doesn't make sense, but he was so busy trying to kill as many overlords as he could on the other side of the map, he just didn't send anything home to deal with that Mutalist force. And now look at how many drones are being produced here for Queen. He is ramping up like crazy, as you said, getting into just a ridiculous amount of economy here. Corsairs are still looking for any damage that they can do, but this play from Bez is, I don't think, going to pay off here. And he's losing Dragoons as he's trying to come with this ramp, forcing out more storms here. Doing a really good job of trading with the Hydras at this ramp. Man, that's so annoying for Bez. He lost 3 Dragoons just trying to get up here. That is crazy. Another Mutalist coming back with 5 kills. Does finally get picked off. I think that was the last Muta.
Yeah, basically what Queen is trying to do is use the absolute bare minimal amount of units, whilst also forcing Best to have to expend the maximal amount of units to try and take these positions. So now Best has finally taken his 3 o'clock expansion, and now he will have to try and fortify that. But Queen is more than happy. He's been sitting back and just macroing up like an absolute madman. He's got plenty of units back at home just chilling. He can basically clean up this game whenever he feels like it, but he wants to maximally increase his chances of victory. He doesn't want to just go in and try and kill Best right away. He wants to try and guarantee as high a chance of winning as possible. So he's compounding his current good position into a much larger advantage again and again, which is basically how Starcraft operates. A small edge turns into a big advantage over time. But right now, big Sonic Storms going down onto the Zerg army. Luckily enough that they were spread enough to not take too much damage. Now going to be getting on top of the High Templar with some of these Hydras, and do manage to take them down with their Hydra spines. That's the spines. Now Lurkers moving forward from the northwestern flank, trying to get on top of those Dragoons. There's beautiful blanketing storms taking out most of the Hydras, so now the Dragoons will be able to retreat without losing any units. But right now there's so many Hydra Lurker, I don't think that Best is going to be able to do much to Queen. So if Queen wants to, he can keep expanding. He can take into Hive. He can stay Battle Zerg and just try and kill Best right now. I don't know how Best is going to take a 4th base. Taking the 3rd base is one thing, but I don't know how he takes a 4th base now.
Yeah, he's going to get this 3rd base up and running. Queen probably going to move around to the bottom side just to put pressure. Force some units to stay down there as well. Force a couple Templars to stay there. Putting some Lurkers at the bottom of this ramp. Making sure that this is not a path that Best can use to get out on the map with some Zealots and deal any damage to Queen. And look at the beautiful concave here at the other side of this bridge. That's going to be so hard to break through. And now Queen just cleaning up this 12 o'clock, making sure that Best not able to take that sneaky base there in that location. Queen, God, this spread is looking so good. How are the upgrades? Did you happen to see how we're doing for the Zerg player?
About to find out now. The Observers are 2 attack upgrades, no Carapace upgrades. So just the 2 attack, which is more or less what you should have at this stage in the game. He'll probably be having Carapace and Melee finishing up within the next minute or 2. Which is pretty standard. There's nothing crazy about the timings of that. We see the 1-1, I think, for Best. I think he lost the Forge in the natural rate, so he didn't finish up his +2 on the normal timing. So he should have 2-1 right now, but he 2-1 finishing up right now, but he won't. He'll instead have 2-2 finishing up in like a minute or so. Right now, it looks like Best trying to come out across this bridge. Very narrow choke though, so difficult to get good surface area. And this beautiful like L shape, upside down L shape, making it really difficult for Best to come in and trade efficiently, and the Hydras will come in, and the 3 beautiful Sonic Storms going to be buying some time so that the Protoss infantry can retreat across the other side of that bridge, but not before maybe losing one of those High Templars. Yeah, the Lynx are going to be killing a few of those High Templars. There's no way Best can trade efficiently against Queen right now. There's 195 supply to 130. It's going to be very difficult for Best to come down here. He's going to try and maybe rotate down to this tiny little ramp to try and see if he can come down here, but it's going to be absolutely nightmare situation for him to try and push push out down that tiny little ramp. It's not going to go very well for him. And we're going to have Defilers soon with Swarm, with Plague. It's going to be impossible to trade cost efficiently enough to beat someone like Queen. It's going to be pure Sauron Zerg style. Huge floods of Lings, Lurkers, Hydras, Defilers just ravaging the Protoss army as he tries to streamline across this bridge now, while Blitz is also trying to push his way down this small ramp zone.
Pushing his way down the small ramp, but look at this. Lings coming in from behind right now. Crackling is done. He's going to be getting his army straight up here in front of this natural. Best is pushing things back just a little bit. He's managing to survive right now, but you need to do more than survive here as Best. You need to get out on the map and do something. I'm surprised we haven't seen a shuttle pop out for Best. I mean, there's just no way he's gonna crack through this efficiently. He's got to get out on the map. All the army units from Queen are right here in the face, so there's not that much, say, down in the bottom left-hand corner. If Best could have gotten a drop over there, he might have been able to do something, but instead he taps out. Queen just way too far ahead after that opener.
Yeah, Queen just did a great job of making sure there was 100% chance of winning that game with that huge early lead that he got. Really phenomenal stuff from him, not pulling the trigger too early, just making sure he guaranteed the victory. Masterclass.
Yeah, I would have expected a 2 Stargate play out of Bisu, but that's not really Best style, and he wasn't able to execute that perfectly. It's nice to see Overlords go down. It's satisfying to watch Corsairs destroy massive clumps of Overlords, but if you're losing probes at the same time, you're not going to take the better end of that trade. So Best gets taken down. Queen will move forward. It's going to be Queen versus either Light or Royal. It's coming up in game number 3. All right, well, Best tried it. It didn't end up working out. That 2 Stargate play backfired on him, and he got dominated by Queen. Now Light here is our player for match number 3. He's going to be spawning in the bottom left of Neo Sylphid. How do you like Neo Sylphid as a TVZ map?
Really good for Muta Harass. I really like to punish Terrans on this map. 12 o'clock in particular for Terrans is really hard to hold with how open that mineral line is, and the gas on the far left, really hard to turret up. And the natural expansions, like, really exploitable as well, because there's just a cliff edge. There's nothing there. You can't really build turrets behind the mineral fields. It's just mineral fields right up against the water line and cliff edge, and there's no way you can really deal with Mutas cost efficiently in those situations. So it's a really good map to go 2-hatch all-in Muta or some other kind of variation of Muta pressure. Whether or not we'll see that this game remains to be seen. The geometry of the spawns actually does favor Light, because Queen doesn't have a direct path to the natural expansion of Light from here, so it's not too bad for Light. I think this is maybe maybe you could argue this is the best possible situation for Light to get bottom left and Queen get bottom right. Maybe you could argue that here.
Yeah, I want to note that on this position for Light, you can't defend with turrets without blocking your natural mineral patches. Like, your mining is going to be horrific if he does go for that Mutalisk all-in and you have to build a bunch of extra turrets. It's going to be really, really painful. I feel like we might see a Valkyrie build here, considering how difficult it is to hold Muta on this map.
Yeah, I think so. It looks like Queen is doing a 2.5 hatchery build, getting that gas, getting that pool at 12, I believe, and getting that gas at 12 as well. So it's going to be going for a more macro-focused style of play, not going to be going for that 2-hatch all-in Muta way of playing. So, and Light now going to be confirming that as he comes in here with his SEV and sees the timing of this gas finishing up and the pool timing. So he'll be able to confirm that. Yeah, you might be right about that. He might want to go straight into Valkyries here.
I really feel like the Valkyrie play is extremely strong on this map, and what you can do as the Terran player is just go single 1-port Valkyrie, and then build tanks as well. And whatever base that Queen is going to take on this map, it's very pushable with tanks later on. Let's say he takes center right as his third base. You can actually put tanks above the gas and hit the gas from the low ground with the tanks. You can even hit the drones on the gas with the tanks as well. And the same thing goes for bottom left. If you place your tanks to the right side of that base, you can actually hit the gas geyser. So there's a lot of merit to going for Valkyrie build here and getting into tank push a little bit later on. That's the way you want to go.
Yeah. Queen is now throwing down this hatchery in his main base. So one thing I would like to note with this 2.5 hatch style is it does allow him to have a way more lava accessible to him than he would usually have. He won't have the most crispest of muta timings though, so this does kind of negate a lot of the pressure that Light would usually have to deal with if it wasn't a much crisper timing of muta with the 11-10 gas follow-up after the 12 hatchery. But because the mutas are going to be delayed by that 20 or so seconds, it's not really going to put a lot of pressure on Light, and he'll be able to calibrate his build enough to mitigate potential disaster in that early game phase. But he still has to worry about those things that we described earlier with the turret positioning in those mineral fields in the natural expansion. And his main base is also kind of a little bit awkwardly shaped as well for him to deal with. But I would say that it's not the most terrible position for Light to have to worry about. I will be curious to see how he wants to navigate the mid game against someone like Queen here, because Queen is a very technical player in the mid to late game phases, and he's very comfortable. Light obviously is one of the most exceptional players in this matchup though, so I imagine whatever he has got planned is probably one of the better answers at dealing with someone like Queen on this map. So I imagine Light's got something very specific planned for Queen.
This is not what I was expecting out of a Light. We've got +1 coming up, and just going into 2 racks after this, so he's not going to have a really crisp move-out timing either. We're going to have a couple of creep colonies going down here. The rush distance is very close on this map. You do have to get your colonies at least started if you want to be able to finish that sunken colony in time for the Marines coming across the map. And yeah, just full on Marine production here for Light. He's possibly still going to go into more of a tech play later on, go for Valkyries a little bit later, but he's going to have to hold all the mutas that are coming out of Queen here in the early game. Going to have to hold them just purely with +1 Marines. It's going to be a bit of a struggle. But throwing down some turrets here, throwing down some turrets there as well, but this natural base is going to be hella hard to hold, and the main base as well. There's so much space for the mutas to get in and get out and move around in here. It's going to be so difficult to hold just with pure Marine.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a dicey situation for him. Because he did go for this really fast 4-racks play, he will have enough bioforces to withstand most of the pressure that Queen can throw at him, and eventually have enough bioforces to move out onto the map. 4-racks just, it helps you get onto the map so much easier than 3-racks. 3-racks is kind of like, you're trading even more or less with the muta play at that point, but getting the 4-racks out kind of does allow you to get a larger and larger bio ball in a rapid enough succession that you can overpower the mutas and get out onto the map a little bit earlier on. Now we see Queen really abusing this map geometry like we described earlier, picking up quite a few of these SCVs for free, limiting the economic potential of Light going forward here. As long as you have 7 mutas, you can one-shot these SCVs, so Queen's just going to keep coming in over and over again and taking big swipes. As you can see, 7 mutas here, perfect number to come in here and snipe these SCVs off one at a time, really crippling the economy of Light. Great play from Queen, but now Light going to be trying to come up with these Marines to try and reduce the HP on these mutas to soften them up, so the turrets will eventually start to threaten them away. But so many SCVs have died, Sam.
Yeah, and I think this is perfectly going according to plan for Queen. Back at home, he's got 2 sunkens already ready. He can throw down a few more. I feel like Light, his plan was to create this big bioforce and move out on the map so he could force the Mutalisks away and not take that early damage, but there's too many sunkens here. The mutas have already done their damage, killing off so many SCVs. We're like even on supply right now, and another base going up here at the 12 o'clock. There's a lot of Mutalisks out now. Queen could throw down another couple of Sunkens. I'm surprised he hasn't done this, actually. Just throw down 2-3 more Sunkens and just continue to bash away at that natural, kill as many SCVs as he can, and not allow Light to take the engagement. Or, you know, if Light tries to bust through 5 Sunkens, it's not going to go well for him. But now Light making his way up to the 12 o'clock, he may be able to take out this base. Let's see what Queen can do with this Mutalisk force here. This is a very strong group of bio coming through this tight choke. They've already made their way through, though, and this is looking a little dicey here for Queen.
Yeah, there was a moment there where if Light could have been in trouble, but he quickly moved his Marines back into a square formation to mitigate potential disaster there. Queen going to be swooping back in to try and get on top of some of those bio forces, taking some big hold position shots to reduce their count, able to kill 2 or so Marines with each volley if done correctly. So doing a great job of reducing this bio force, and we'll be cleaning this up without losing the hatchery. So really nice cleanup on R5 from Queen. Now even ahead in supply for at least the time being. So looking in a pretty phenomenally good position is Queen going forward here. Now going to be transitioning into lurkers as well as getting into that hive as well. So
yeah, this is looking great for Queen now. Just diving atop those Marines at the perfect time. He's going to come here with the Lings as well. Tries to target some of these mutas as those Marines go down, but now, I mean, Queen, he could just possibly end this right now. Run straight on in here to the natural. He's got so many Lings with that 2.5 hatch. And a ton of mutas here as well, just gunning down as many Marines as he can. But great hold with that, what is that, supply depot thrown down in the front? That was a clutch supply depot there to block out those Lings.
Yeah, one thing that Terran players don't do enough is use the buildings like that to just create a temporary sim city to mitigate like a big Zerg attack coming in and completely destroying you. And it is so effective, especially against Ultralisks in the later phases of the game. But even like we see here, it can be very cost efficient to do that, to try and he knows he's so far behind in supply that the only way he has a chance at trading efficiently is by making a play like that. So it's very, very shrewd of Light to identify that he needs to make these kinds of adjustments if he wants to have any kind of chance of like coming back into this game here and getting back on the board. He's creeping up on supply in Queen's afterwake right now, but not quite catching up to him. Just now barely starting to get ahead of him in supply, but it's going to be a little while for him to eclipse him like he needs to trade efficiently out on this map as the later game phase starts to come online.
We've got a couple of shuttle supply, what am I saying, science vessels out here on the map. I don't think they have irradiate energy just yet. I think they just popped out here, but they will have that coming up pretty soon. So this Mutalisk force going to be relegated to defense duty here pretty soon. Otherwise it is going to get irradiated down. Just taking a couple more pot shots here. Looks like the vessels coming forward ready with that irradiate, but the mutas are going to be sent back home. I don't see any Scourge on the map just yet, but those 2 science vessels are moving pretty far ahead of the pack. They need to be very, very careful. These 2 science vessels are the lifeblood here for Light, and double dropship just popped out. I think he's waiting for 4 actually. We may see a 4 dropship lotto ships flying into the top center or maybe into the main base to try and bring this game back for Light. Yeah, look at that, 4 drops. Where are these going to go? Can Queen find them? It's going to mean life or death here in this game for a Zerg player.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for him to spot these as well. He can escort them around with the vessels as well if he wanted to. The vessels could scout ahead a little bit and make it look like they're coming in to take some irradiates the Zerg units, and then confirm if whether or not it's safe for the dropships to follow suit. It looks like he's just going to go all the way around into the 12 o'clock position and try and hit this as hard as possible. There is quite a few mutas in position to defend against this, but he might be able to get on top of this Nidus Canal and shut it down before anything can come through it. Here comes the move now. He needs to shut down this Nidus Canal, but he's not killing it in time. And here comes Queen coming through this Nidus Canal. Lurkers and Lings sprawling out, trying to deal with this, but he does manage to clear this up pretty cost efficiently. Light unable to really crack him here, but the game's still not over yet. He's still ahead in supply enough to make this maybe something happen here. It's gonna be really tough for him going forward, though. I don't see how Light can navigate his way into a win if Queen plays more or less as he has been for the foreseeable future. As long as he now just starts to dark swarm up these positions and prevent Light coming in here, it's gonna be really tough for him. But Light knows that there's a tiny chance here that he can get the better of Queen, so he's gonna be rotating around behind the middle lines to start gunning down these drones and maybe maybe causing as much of a nightmare for Queen to have to deal with that. Maybe he can start to like even the playing field a little bit here, trying to force as much resources out of Queen as possible while trying to cripple the economy at the same time.
Oh, Queen with the great Dark Storm there on the mineral line, just keeping all those drones alive and shutting that down. Looks like 3 dropships managed to make their way out of that kind of catastrophic drop situation that we just saw in the top center, but now they're going to be heading towards the main base while Queen moves out to take his 4th. What does he have back at home? A lot. He's got a lot here to defend this. He's going to be fine, I think, holding on. Ultra Cavern coming down. The Lings are going to come forward. We've got Scourge here. We've got Defilers. We've got Lurkers behind this as well. It's like Firebat doing a lot of work in the main, actually cleaning out quite a few of these Lings. It should be taken down eventually, though. Consuming and going after. Oh my God, the Eraser! No, we don't have. We don't have Burrow. 12 kills on that Science Vessel. Are you kidding me? Light somehow making this work. How is he doing this right now?
I don't know how he's doing this right now. Light is an absolute god. Queen probably could have had Burrow Upgrade, would have been a great option for him here to stabilize, but does have a Plague down on his Bioforce. Just maybe start cleaning this up shortly, but it's going to be really tough for him. He's lost the gas in the main base as well, so really limiting the gas income. Here comes Light as well to try and put on even more pressure at the 12 o'clock position now. The small force with another Razor trick, and I bet you he doesn't have Burrow still. I bet you he's not even researching it. What are you doing, Queen? Get Burrow Upgrade, my guy. Another amateur mistake from Queen this week. I didn't like the mistake he made last week either. I'm a little bit disappointed in Queen in this game, actually, because one of the only things that could have really gave Light a comeback opportunity was a Razor trick, and the only thing he had to worry about then would just be getting the Burrow Upgrade. It's only 100, so it wouldn't have been that big a deal for him to do that, just to make sure he wouldn't have taken any additional crazy amounts of damage like this. But it looks like there is still opportunity for Queen to go on the offensive. It is getting a Dark Swarm set up at the natural expansion of Light, so could maybe have some opportunity to counter Light here, but it's gonna be a little bit tough for him, especially getting this 12 o'clock cracked open as well. I don't know, saying this week. Queen's kind of fallen apart here completely. I don't understand.
Yeah, the 3rd base has fallen. I thought he was going to be able to clean that main base attack up easily. He had Scourge, he had the Defiler, Lurkers and Lings ready to go, but the spread and the split from Light was just way too good. He manages somehow to take that game away. I am in shock right now at the skill of Light. His ability to come back in this game, super impressive. Light versus Shuttle here in game number 4. Got Shuttle down in the bottom right, Light in the top center. This is that new map, Apocalypse. And maybe you can help me out with this, Shun. This map really reminds me of another map, but I just can't remember the name of it. The tile set is blue. You've got the 3 high grounds around the map. Help me out with this, man. What is the name of that map?
Why is it with people asking me the names of things? I'm terrible with names. Do you know what's even funnier? I know what map you're talking about. I know exactly what map you're talking about. I know exactly what map you're talking about. I just don't know the name of it. The 3-player map where, yeah, and the pre-big massive high grounds, and you could basically cover like 3 gas expansions all from that one high ground peninsula. I know exactly what map you're talking about, saying. Do I know the name of that map? Do I?
Absolutely not.
I could probably draw you like an 80% accurate replica of that map by memory. Could I give you the name of it? Probably not.
Well,
hold a gun to my head, I probably wouldn't get it.
It's kind of like a remake of that one. Maybe we'll have to look it up in between the next game, or this game and the next game. But it doesn't have some of the map features. Like, it doesn't have the little gap that goes in towards the natural. Instead, it's just all high ground. As long as you control that area, there's no like other counterattack path or anything like that. It is a 3-player map, but there's no high ground bases anywhere. So in matchups like ZVP or ZVT, there's not really a good place to place lurkers or anything. There's also not really a great location for the Protoss player to just drop a Nexus on high ground with a bunch of cannons and hold off against Terran. you know, with Storm or Reaver or whatever. All the bases are, what I'm trying to say is all the bases are pretty much open. Some of them have smaller bridges to get into them, but none of them have like a really tiny ramp with the base at the high ground. So very open map here. A lot of breakable, bustable positions for both sides.
Yeah, it definitely is very similar to that map that you were talking about. I really do like the high ground peninsula design on these maps. I think it's a nice little feature. I'm not too keen on this very tight little choke, but I haven't really seen enough games on this map to make my mind fully up. But you have to be careful here. The Zealot going to be coming all the way into the main base. It will be starting to put the pressure on this SCV that's building, so we'll be pulling off 2 extra SCVs to make sure that this factory will indeed finish and the Vulture can start being made instantly. Not going to be messing around here and letting Shell get away with any kind of potential shenanigans where he somehow delays the factory by a few seconds. So nicely done from Light to make sure he can get everything done right on time and not let his build get hiccuped in any slight way. Now the CC being thrown down right on time with the 400 minerals. Vulture now going to be running out onto the map and putting some pressure out onto these Zealots that were originally doing a good job of putting some pressure onto the Terran. Now going to be in a little bit of trouble having to retreat to the safety of this Dragoon while the Vulture wants to slide around all the way around. He might be able to do so. He might get that Vulture all the way over here, confirm the Nexus and get into the main base here.
Yeah, it looked like Shuttle actually saw that, but not able to turn around in time, and the Vulture's gonna get up here into the main. This is very, very painful right now for Shuttle. He managed to get the Dragoon in the block position there, stop that Vulture from getting around, and he only loses 1 probe. Very, very well done there by Shuttle. Lucky to have that Dragoon popping out at that moment, but handled very, very well. Despite that situation, a lot of players would have lost, you know, 3, 4 probes to that Vulture running by, but Shuttle manages to get that killed off, clean out his main base, and now he has more Dragoons popping out here. He's going to be able to come across the map and put on that pressure once again.
They'll be throwing this really early robo down, which I like as well, because even if you're not going for a Reaver play, it doesn't matter. Being able to get super fast observers out into the Terran base is really, really good news for Protoss. If you're able to identify exactly the timings of the Terran player, you kind of calibrate your build to either be as greedy as possible or to line up your tech in just the right way to be able to deal with anything the Terran throws. You're not going to be countered by any kind of like 4 factory timing or anything like that. So if you can get the observer really early on into the Terran base, it does help Protoss players out a lot. But Terrans have kind of wisened up to this in this current modern era, and they're really going for this sort of like anti-observer play where they're getting Wraiths to hunt down the observers, or at least Goliaths to hunt down the observers. And I really do like that new way of thinking and understanding just how important the map vision is in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen Protoss players go for earlier and earlier observers over the years, trying to get that vision out and clear the map of mines as soon as possible. And so seeing that the Terran players respond to that by gunning down the early observers and trying to shut down that vision, it's very, very good and very impressive stuff. Now, lose that Vulture there. He managed to get the mines out, but they're not really going to affect too much here because Shuttle is now back in his wall. He's managed to keep himself secure here. He's got that early robo, so the observer is going to pop out here soon. He even walked right through that mine and still didn't take any damage, so everything working out very well for Shuttle so far, but this is still Light we're talking about. It's still going to be a very tough slog in this game.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the position right now. I think this map makes it a little bit hard for me to calculate because it's kind of a weird... If you look at this horizontal path that Light has to attack into this third base, it's kind of a little bit bizarre the way he's got to like maneuver around 2 peninsulas of high grounds to get there. I'm not sure how comfortable it is for Terran to go for a maneuver like this on the map, if it's common for them to want to do really fast push timings, or if they're much more confident to just play a lot more passive style and just abuse this high ground peninsula and try and go for a more positional win by taking an earlier third, just just teching up really early on into Science Facility, getting a second armory, just going straight to 3-3 upgrades into an early third gas. I don't know if this is the most optimal way of playing on this map for Terran, but I feel like giving this current geometry of the map, it might be.
Well, if this map is anything like, well, it looks like that map that we're still trying to think of the name of, but on that map, and I think on this map as well, it's so difficult to get back into your base to deal with a recall or to deal with carriers flying into your main. And you're going to be stretching out as the Terran player down towards the bottom left. If you're going for, oh, a scan in the main, he sees the double Stargate here plus the spinning core, so he knows that it's going to be carrier. So maybe this won't even come into play here, but what I was trying to say is that taking bases down towards the bottom left, spreading out your bases in that direction means that you're really spreading yourself thin and far away from your main base. Anything flying in and dealing damage in your main is going to be very hard to counter because the walk distance all the way back into the main is long, and there's a very tight choke coming into the main as well.
Yeah, do you think this is... I think the play here from Shuttle was actually expecting either a fast third from... either a fast third or a very fast tech out of Light, but I actually kind of like this idea of just going for this 3-base carrier. But I don't think Light will necessarily be able to do much about it. It's going to be tough for him, right? Because he's got to come down here and take this third base, but right now he needs to slowly be thinking about moving out around about the next minute or so to push out and do some damage to Shuttle. But he's going to be just thinking purely about how he's going to navigate all the way down here safely to his third base and take this. It's going to be really tough for him to just push out onto the map freely. So this could be a little bit of bad news bears for Light if he doesn't smell this out quickly enough in the next few moments going forward here. And there is a lot of potential for Shuttle to just completely crush him if he does try and move out too soon or try and take this third too soon. So Light's going to be very methodical here.
I don't think he is interested in taking the third. Look at how many factors we've got. I don't think we have a command center here. Oh, losing a couple of Dragoons early on, not good. I think that Shuttle was a little bit too lax letting this high ground go a little bit too quickly, but you know, he still does have his own high ground. And one thing I'm realizing about this map is that the push that's coming across from Terran can be slowed down by quite a bit by Dragoons on high ground in 2 different locations. The high ground just outside of Light's natural, and then this high ground as well. Just gonna buy Shuttle a huge amount of time here to get those carriers out. And yeah, we don't see a third base coming up here. It's just gonna be this push, and that is it. Shuttle gonna delay as much as possible here. There's a couple of Goliaths out on the map. The next rally of Goliaths is gonna be very important coming up here soon. We don't have anything from Shuttle to get around this army and cut off the Goliaths that are going to be reinforcing this position, which can be a great way to close out a game like this. If you can just get a good group of Dragoons and Zealots in the way of that rally, sometimes you can take that out. But look at this, he's coming in with some Shuttle play, gonna drop some Zealots on top of this, but actually gets cleaned up very, very quickly. Nice targeting there from Light to kill off that Shuttle right away and pushing everything back for Shuttle. Another round of Zealots comes out, but Zealots without speed and no Shuttle here to drop them as well. So this is going to be a very tough engage when he does take it. Will he be able to break this push? High ground now claimed by Light. Fighting up this ramp is going to be so hard. He's going to try and take this fight though. Not too many interceptors here at all. The Zealots actually getting on top of the tanks somehow, and we're going to lose quite a few tanks, but a lot of this ground army has been cleaned up.
Yeah, a lot of it's been cleaned up. So much inventory of the Protoss player absolutely obliterated. Shuttle not having much more to fight with. He has +1 weapons on these interceptors, but it's 1-1 upgrades for the Terran army as well. So Light in a pretty comfortable position going forward. Here's 0-0 on the Protoss inventory. So Light's in a very phenomenal position with these tanks in this nice high ground position, able to start laying siege to this third base and also be very safe for the counter-attack potential from Shuttle. It's going to be really hard for Shuttle in the coming moments here. Looks like Light wants to try and do a kill move execution, come down here, push through the south with all of his army just bunched together, try and mow down all of the Dragoons and get on top of the carriers as soon as possible. He could kill this third base really quickly, but he doesn't want to do that. He wants to just leave one tank shelling it and send all of his army down to the choke point in the natural now. He will send a few extra units, it looks like, to that third base momentarily, maybe to put some DPS onto that Nexus before coming back down again, just to help that one tank finish that Nexus off slowly over time. There is now 4 carriers targeting down his own assimilator to keep all of those interceptors out, so that when the carriers go into move command, all of the interceptors are ready to pounce on top of the Goliath when targeted. So good job controlling those carriers by Shuttle here, but it's going to be really tough for him. He's lost that Nexus in the natural as well, so only down to 1 base worth of economy. So it's going to be almost impossible for him to keep affording to build these carriers and interceptors at the same time.
He's got a good number of carriers here, but the chokehold of Light is locked in deep right now. He's got his arm around his neck, is ready to finish him off here, and this is the last kind of burst of energy here from Shuttle. Can he actually break out of this chokehold, get his neck free from this the arm here of Light? It doesn't look like he'll be able to. His energy is running out. There's nothing left for these carriers to do now, with the interceptors all being picked off. Tanks are shoving forward. The next round of Goliaths will come forward as well. Vultures getting in here to the main base are going to kill a ton of these probes, and the carriers are going to clean them up, but he's just lost way too much now, dropping down below 100 supply, whereas Light now taking his third base. He's focused exclusively up till this point on getting this push to work. Oh, these probes, citizens arrest here, gonna take out the tank, but the victory is short-lived as the Goliaths and tanks move forward and clean them all out. Bunch of carriers coming forward here. Looks like he's managed to reproduce most of his interceptors and gunning down quite a few of these Goliaths as well. Gonna force the retreat from Light, but I think just too much damage has been done. He's almost gonna kill this Nexus as well. Just 45 HP on that and manages to survive.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, that actually might make a big difference in this game. If he can somehow hold on to that Nexus without letting any vultures slip by to kill it, that's going to be huge. If there was somehow like a few vultures that could sneak on over there, it'd be really easy for him to kill, but he won't be able to make those vultures. He'll be too committed to making these tanks and these Goliaths to combat this carrier goon army. So it's possible to be very difficult for him to come in here and kill this Nexus in the coming moments of the game. So this actually could be really good for Shuttle that he didn't lose that. And now he will have enough economy to keep building these interceptors and keep Light at bay, at least for the time being, to maybe give himself some kind of a chance in this game. So far so good for Shuttle, but it's still looking great for him. I still really like Light's position. I'd really much be happier if I was in Light's shoes. Soon he should be able to really get on top of these carriers and deal with Shuttle, because Shuttle's going to be down to 1 base production now that the main is going to be mined out with such a high amount of saturation from that mining. It will be mined out a lot quicker than usual. Usually about 17 or so minutes they become mined out, but with that high saturation, even at 16 minutes, even it's completely mined out. So it will be really tough for Shuttle here. What do you think, Sandy? Any chance he can come back?
I don't think so. Against a player of Light's caliber, he's not going to allow you to escape this this chokehold here. He's going to get on top of you. He's got the vultures sneaking into the main base, killing off a ton of probes, and while the carriers are busy distracted here in the main trying to clear out these vultures, here comes the main army of Light. He's going to come up here to siege up and instantly kill that Nexus, I think. Tank sieging. Goliaths are going, or Dragoons are going to get popped. That one tank heading up towards the Nexus, he's just going to gun that down. No, he backs away to set up this tank here. Try to deal with the goons at the front line. I'm surprised that Shuttle's not sending his goons forward. But GG is called. He's taken down. Light, no surprise here, going to take the victory over Shuttle. and he will move on to the next game. It's going to be against either Hero or Sulky. It's coming right up. Okay, Tempest is going to be our next map. We got Light here versus Sulky. This is a wild map, boys. This is a crazy map. We've got this rotational map. You can see a little spiral shape in the middle. The crazy part about this map that we identified in our last cast was that there's a high ground outside of your natural. I don't know how that's going to play into this game, but if history is any lesson, we're going to see Light abuse the heck out of that as a Terran player.
He should abuse pretty much anything you can abuse, you should abuse as Terran, and the better Terran player you are, the more you are able to identify and abuse the Zerg player. There's this threshold that you reach as a Terran player where usually it's the Zerg abusing you with superior micro and superior unit control, making their glass cannon units into exceptional killing machines, and that really devastates you as a Terran player until you reach this threshold where you start to understand the timings and nuances of Zerg, and you start to learn how to exploit them on a deeper fundamental level and hit them at these really awkward timings right before their power spikes come into play. And this is what we see from the most exceptional of Terran players, is this really nuanced understanding of the timings and power thresholds of Zerg and how to exploit that best.
And we'll see how he decides to exploit that here in this game so far. Just going into barracks here, looks like a pretty normal build out of Light. I don't see a gas going down here, so we're not going to have an early factory or an early starport or anything like that. Something really truly abusive or cheesy coming out of him. It's going to be a normal starter at least, and then we'll go and see how this plays out here. Sulky, a very macro oriented player. We'll likely see him going for a macro build here. I don't expect him to do something like a Mutilus all-in or a Lurker all-in or a Guardian play or anything like that. But where do you take your third base here as Sulky? Are you going to take another natural down in the bottom right?
I would, yeah. You take the other natural because it's so close to the ramp as well. So you get 2 gases for free by taking that, because once you've secured that and you can swarm it up with lurkers and turn up, you got the 4th gas in the back pocket for free as well. So it's basically double dipping in value. So you're getting the easier to defend high ground location with the close ramp, and you're also getting a gas for free on top of it. So you definitely have to take a natural main. He might not do that because he might want to throw Light off guard and kind of like meta him a little bit and disguise where he'll be taking that, but I don't think so. I think he will take it in one of those locations, most likely in the bottom right, natural. However, one thing I would like to point out is that, like we were saying earlier about Sulky being a more macro-centric Zerg player, that's very true. And not only that, but he kind of really does rely heavily on this sort of mutaling style of play, where he wants to kind of swallow up the Bible with the huge swarm of mutaling and try and outmaneuver the Terran player like that, rather than just relying on pure like powerhouse micro of the Mutalisk, like would see someone like Soma try and execute.
Yeah. He's definitely capable of executing at a high level, but he definitely seems to prefer that style. And we haven't seen a drone head out on the map, but I think there's one heading towards the bottom right here now, and there it is. Let's see the SCV here coming in towards the natural and send his links back home to try and deny that. It's headed directly for the center right. I think that the 6 o'clock is just way too hard to defend as a Zerg player, so makes sense that he was going to go for that. Nice block on the ramp, just barely managing to slip by. You will see the Spire here, so the strategy's been revealed for Sulky. A little unfortunate there, but great play by Light to get in and spot that out. Now trying to run by with the Ling, not going to get it into the main base, so he's not going to really see what's coming, but based on the number of Marines that he sees at the front at this timing, he should be able to glean what's coming. It's just a 2 racks play out of Light.
Right, and with that 2-Rex play, he could make a move out right now at the 5-minute mark, pushing out across the map with 8 or so Marines, 2 medics, and kind of force out a sunken response out of Sulky here. I don't think we'll see anything too crazy from White. He is going all the way up to 11 Marines before moving out with just a single medic, so just wants to force out a maximum response from Sulky as much as possible here. See if he can force out a second, maybe even a third sunken. I doubt he'll get that much, but he'll definitely get one sunken, maybe a few extra lings, but not much else. Like, he's going to really try and get away with murder here, is Sulky, trying to go straight into Mutalisks and not really rely on sunkens or lings. But Light might be identifying that and wanting to really double down and go all the way into this natural expansion and try and overpower the sunken colony. 2 Firebats trying to defend this link counterattack right now, but here comes Light trying to gun down this sunken. Like I said, wants to come in here and go double bluff and just punish the greed of Sulky right now. There's right now trying to regather the forces of these Mutalisks to come in and start swiping at these Marines, but so far this position is completely opened up and he could maybe get the hatchery. He's going to start gunning down these Mutalisks, but so far the bio ball has been reduced to a significant amount that he could maybe come in here and clean this up. So Sulky not going to be losing this hatchery, but does take a lot of damage.
Yeah, that was really surprising that we saw Sulky, you know, even sending the Mutas across the map right as they were popping out rather than bringing them together to fight with the sunken colony. It felt like he just didn't, or maybe he thought that Light was going to turn around with that bio ball. But he definitely wasn't. He was definitely ready to dive in here. He killed the sunken and he got quite a few drones as well, so that really worked out well for Light here for that early fight. Now the Mutas coming across the map are badly damaged. All the turrets are up. Light looking to be in a great position here. The Firebat down at the bottom right has been killed, but there's not too many drones yet for Sulky. He's gonna have to pump up that macro here. I think we're gonna see him transition out of Mutalisk production into drone production and into a transition ASAP, because there's just too much defense ready for Light. He's not able to push out just yet, but he will be able to soon with 5 racks coming up. That factory and starport finishing shortly here. Light is getting right into the macro game that he wants to be executing here.
Yeah, right now Queen has, Sulky has plenty of map control because Light won't want to come out onto the map just yet, but that's only for the time being. Very soon Light's going to have a huge force of M&Ms that he's going to be moving out onto that with. The only issue that I could maybe see Light having is that if he was a bit more on top of his Muta harassment, he could be delaying this natural gas quite a bit for Light, so Light might want to chill around here for a little bit longer and make sure this gas finishes up before he starts moving out onto the map, just to guarantee. Yeah, as we see here, Sulky coming back in to snipe that drone, the SCV building that over and over again to delay that gas timing just a little bit. So really nice play there from Sulky. I really like him delaying this gas. It's a nice play from him. The gas is so important for Terran at this phase of the game. Banking on that gas for the upgrades for those vessels is really crucial. So now we see the tech switch as well from Sulky going to be getting those lurkers.
Looks like Sulky's gonna have to rely on his finesse here quite a bit as the Marine medic moves across the map. I think there's a good group of lings over at the third base though. He may be able to pincer that, bring the lings up and actually crush this bio army. It's not that big and we don't have a reinforcing group of medic and Marine moving out on the map just yet to kind of bolster this force. Lings are just kind of chilling over by the third right now. I'm surprised he doesn't want to come out here and try to cut this down. Did a good job keeping the army tight here, but forcing out more and more stims is Sulky and really reducing that energy on the medics. He's going to be able to come in here soon and possibly crush this. He moves back towards this flanking force, this reinforcing wave here from Light, but not able to actually jump on top of that. And now Light, I think, should be able to move forward. Both of these forces are actually big enough now to where the Mutas can't just easily jump upon them. They should be able to group up and move towards that third base. The third base is under serious threat right now. If he doesn't have lurkers morphing on that high ground, he may end up losing that base.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of a weird situation here. I'm not sure. Do you think that Light should be more aggressive right now, or do you think he's in a really comfortable position? He could just basically maintain this game state and try and pressure both locations at the same time. He's doing a great job of picking up these overlords as well and shuffling around and trying to get as much value as he can with what little he's got out on the map right now. Now he's going into these tanks, like we say, and these vessels. I'm not too sure if the timing is going to be good enough here, but it's early enough that he could do a lot with it. He will definitely have a small window where he can put a lot of pressure onto Sulky and break him open, but it's going to be tight. It's already 10 minutes 30. The divide amount starting now. He needs to go more or less within the next few seconds to guarantee making sure there's no way that these defilers and Gajum will be ready. Oh, he's starting to lose his tank though. The Radiate does also go down on there. Beautiful split though, not taking too much damage onto those Mules. Taking a few swipes at this vessel. He's not going to pick up vessel. Beautiful play from Sulky getting the vessel as well from those Mulisks. Really good pick up from him. Now down to 75 supply to 117. Dropship play coming in as well, and the natural expansion scooping up some Marines, going and get ready to drop into the main base of Sulky. Maybe there is an overlord down there to spot that coming in. Light now going to stim down all the way into this lurker formation that's set up for a whole position in the bottom right. So doing a good job of pushing the Zerg all the way back now. Sulky in a little bit of trouble here, trying to get set up as quickly as possible with these extra Zunkers being thrown down to try and buy some time from these siege tanks that are going to be laying siege to this natural expansion area soon.
Yeah, the natural expansion buying some time here with the couple of Sunkens, but drop gonna come down to the bottom right. Sulky has been very conservative though so far. He has not started this base down here, so he's gonna be safe for now. He's got the lurker on the high ground. You're not gonna be able to break up there, so just gonna force that back, and the defiler play will be out shortly. We haven't lost any lurkers just yet, so I think that Sulky is gonna be fine here. He will have to eventually come in and clean out that bottom right. Another drop gonna come up. I think he's gonna drop onto the high ground. You can hit from the high ground that gas there at the third base, I think, even with Marine coming in trying to snipe one more tank. I was shocked when I saw that first tank go down and the vessel as well. I think that was amazing from Sulky and really giving himself a great chance in this game. Here comes another Radiate. Oh, not as good of a pullout this time. Oh man, he's taking a ton of damage from this. Finally pulling things out, and as he's doing that, the run in here by the Marines, he's gonna get on top of this. Oh, he's not able to kill the science vessel there and unload over in the bottom right as well. Gonna have to pop through a bunch of lurkers from the third base to try and hold this off, but that's gonna open up an opportunity here for Light to maybe come into the third base as well, deal some damage. Finally, a defiler pops out, and it looks like Sulky gonna stabilize, at least for now.
Yeah, so it looks like he wasn't able to quite pull out that muter in time, and as a result had a bit of an unexpected offspring of the defiler hatching out a little bit after the gestation period ended. So looks like that worked out in Sulky's favor overall. Can't really complain too much about that. Looking pretty good right now on his setup with 3 gas, but Light can still put the pressure on. He will shuffle all the way over to this right-hand side of the map now. Siege tanks will be lining up to take down some of these. Doesn't able to get the Scourge connection. Oh, he might still get it. Beautiful play from Light. They're not losing that vessel, but that was more Sulky's not manually targeting that with the Scourge there. But there's just so many things that Sulky has to control right now. He can't really be sitting here looking at the Scourge constantly trying to make sure there's manual connections. So it's really tough for Zerg to always guarantee killing those vessels, especially the Terrans on top of shuffling them around and rotating in these sort of triangular patterns to make it harder for the Scourge to reach their destination, because Scourges have the tendency to bug out quite a lot when they're kind of changing their vectors. So really tough for Zerg units to be able to connect with the Terran vessels like that sometimes. It can be hard to trade them off, especially when someone like Light is really actively controlling them. Here comes the Sulky into the middle of the map with the defilers, not able to get the actual connections that he wants with the Scourge continuously, but is starting to make out some moves onto the map to push Light back a little bit.
Surprised that he's going to be taking the 6 o'clock base here, but I guess it's going to go undetected, at least for now for Light. Look at this. He's really ramping up production now. With that third base, he can get into 3 starport production, and the physics lab is done, so we're going to have battlecruisers hitting the field here shortly. I think that Soulkey probably needs to take down that base in the bottom right. He needs to go ahead and get rid of those Marines so that he can take that base. But I guess maybe this 6 o'clock could provide some gas for him if it goes undetected by light for a little while. It's not that hard, I suppose, to hold off army trying to move down towards the bottom center. There's not really a clear path to get there unless you go around the right hand side, but still Soulkey has this forward position with his defilers and lurkers. You can't really get by this right now with the current tech that that Light has, and 2 more vessels go down. Much better connections there on those lurkers with the killing off a bunch of Marines. He's not going to get rid of the tanks, but these tanks are next to useless at this point with the defilers and lurkers. You're not really going to be able to trade efficiently with them. And here he comes once again, going to dive on top of this. Where's the defiler? Defiler getting a little bit bugged there, but it does finally get that Dark Swarm down, and we will end up killing this tank. 4 dropships though coming into the main. What do we have from Soulkey to defend against this? 2 Scourge is all he's got. He's gonna get one of those before it actually unloads fully, but a ton of drones going down here on the left hand side. A bunch of irradiates come as well. So many drones going down right now, and another drop. It looks like he's gonna drop behind these minerals at the natural. Oh, everything hopping through the Nidus. All the drones gonna escape over towards the 3rd base, at least for now. Looks like Soulkey gonna clean this up, but he lost a lot there, and his supply has dropped down to just 77, whereas his opponent's over 160. So doubled the supply at this moment, and the dropships escape as well. So they're gonna be able to load up and come back in a few more seconds. This is gonna get crazy here in a second.
Yeah, I mean, he's got so much production. He got 170 supply to 90. Now, Zerg can technically survive with like 70, 80 supply. Yes, technically the Zerg is alive, and maybe something could be done with that, but let's be honest, there's no way. Look at this. It could be dropping into the main base again. Science vessels also supporting these dropships as well. Scourge not quite making the connections they need to stop the unload as well. So beautiful unload into the main base can be causing a nightmare situation for Soulkey to have to retreat and defend. Swarms are going down into the main base, but now the Evo chambers are starting to be target fired. There's more and more defilers being hatched out of these eggs, so maybe there's some hope of stabilizing it, but it's going to be really tough right now moving forward into the natural expansion area as well. Plenty of firebats underneath these dark swarms, able to make some short work of these Zerg units. Now rotating away from those swarms to try and target down the Nidus Canal as well to try and stop some trafficking. The Razor Trick also coming out onto the mineral line. There is no burrow, I don't believe, so a lot of drones are going to be dying trying to make it to the Nidus Canal for evacuation, but not able to do so. Lots of drones going down now for Soulkey, currently in disarray, not able to have much of an income to speak of in which to stabilize. GG is called.
Ooh, Light taking down Soulkey in a similar fashion to the way he took down Queen. Really impressive stuff from him. Just super aggressive, getting so much pressure down at the front and then hitting him in the back with the 4 dropships and following that up with the Eraser Trick. That looked impossibly hard to hold, but had Soulkey had some Scourge in the right positions there, he may have been able to shut down that drop. I'm surprised he had his Scourge all rallied to the natural rather than having something in the main to defend that. He could have held that off a lot better, and Light with the crazy attacking play, with the aggressive mid-game play, able to take him down, and will move on to face off against Bisu, the last Protoss player in this squad. Can he clutch up and bring it back for the Protoss, or will Light shut him down? That's coming up right after this. Bisu versus Light here in match 6. Light in the bottom right, Bisu in the top left. We are on Invader, this brand new map. Super exciting matchup to test this map on. I haven't even seen this map yet, I don't think. Actually, I don't remember anyway, but this will be a really cool match. That last map, if we could just talk about it a little bit, with Soulkey versus Light, that one was crazy, man. But honestly, the way that Light played that out, if I was imagining a StarCraft map from like a cinematic perspective, like the way that I would imagine Terran fighting Zerg is exactly how that game played out, with all the tools being utilized there from Terran, with the tanks, with the drops coming in, invading the Zerg base and just pulling him limb from limb, tearing him apart over and over, and eventually weathering him down there. But I digress. We've got a gas steal coming in from Bisu and an oddly placed SCV from Light over there at the top right. What do you think that's for?
Barracks. So a second barracks. He's gonna make a second barracks up there, yeah.
Oh man, what is this? What is this? What am I looking at right now?
So basically what will happen is that the Zealot pressure from Bisu will come into the main base, and what Light will do is he'll put on counter pressure with the second barracks, and the Zealots won't be back at home to defend this. So there's an opportunity here. There's a small window where Light can actually go on the counter offensive and really punish Bisu hard, especially if he goes for Zealot Goon. With only the first two Zealots and the two barracks production, it's going to be really hard for Bisu to hold this without a shield battery. So this could just kill Bisu straight up if he doesn't figure this out quick enough. Usually you'd see the second barracks in the main base of Light as the kind of like hedge your bets against proxy gateways. And if it is proxy gateways, you keep the barracks and have more Marines to defend against the proxy gateways. And if it's not proxy gateways, you'd cancel the barracks and then just go one barracks and be fine. But instead we're seeing this like really definitive counter style from Light of building the barracks, but building it in a proxy location to hide it, disguise it, and go on his own counter offensive regardless of what Bisu does. He knows for sure that Bisu's going to come with at least one or two Zealots in the early game phase.
Right. So we've got the Zealot here across the map. The second Zealot is about to arrive. We're gonna try and double steal this. Oh, he's gonna steal it again. He does. He kills his own assimilator there, and with the probe, and then rebuilds the assimilator. So this assimilator is gonna take forever. But little does he know, Bisu is gonna be under a lot of pressure here. This is not the plan to get this gas up right away. This is all kind of a bit of a fake here, where a ton of Marines are being built in the top right, and we're gonna have a lot of pressure coming on to Bisu here soon. He may even build a bunker. You can build a bunker with this SCV, no? Just build a bunker next to the gateway and just go for it there. Yeah. Oh my god, he ran in. Oh man, that was not good. Light kind of like face checking into those Zealots there, but walking right into melee range. He loses quite a few of these Marines, and that's gonna really hurt him here. He's almost not able to hold on against these Zealots. He's got to pull a lot of SCVs in the main base, but his Marine force moving across the map in the top center part of the map right now, this is going to be so hard for Bisu to hold on against. He's going to have a bunker built here with this SCV. He's going to probably just kill this pylon straight up. And there's not a whole lot that Bisu can do, although he is flanking with one Zealot. Maybe he can get on top of this, and another Zealot just popped out. Perfect timing for that Zealot to pop out. He's gonna kill two Marines and an SCV, but there's more Marines coming up here from the south, and a bunch more SCVs coming up as well to support. This is a crazy game right now. Oh, Zealot's coming from all sides. This angles from Bisu. He's gonna jump right on top of this. Pretty good micro from Light, but a lot of the Marines go down here very, very quickly, and the SCVs are being targeted down now, so he won't be able to finish that bunker. This is perfectly held by Bisu so far, I think.
Yeah, that was almost like a box art style thing, and it's actually not perfectly held from Bisu just yet. There's still a lot of pressure on from Light coming up here. He did a very good job of delaying the threat, but there's only like 2 or so Zealots right now to like 5 to 6 Marines and 2 SCVs, so it's actually favoring Light with micro. So a little bit sticky situation from him, and there's no shield battery to boot as well, and I don't think there's a Dragoon popping out. So we have 3 Zealots, maybe a 4th one about to pop, with maybe a Dragoon Dragoon on the way, so he might have the opportunity to kill some probes. So if Light can kill a lot of probes here, he might be able to stabilize this game and turn this into a more of a normal situation. But it's going to be really tough for him going forward because this Nexus has been finished for quite some time from Bisu. So I really do like this position for Bisu still. It's just that there is an opportunity here for Light to make something happen, but it looks like thus far Bisu doing a good job of weathering that storm and not letting too many of those probes die. Didn't really take any significant damage either, and there is no command center on the way for Light, I do not believe. So I think Bisu's slowly going to come into a bit of a commanding position here. He's getting on top of these Marines with these side blades, kind of dicing them apart. A little bit of a Ginsu chef over here, taking them all down, and looking really nice is Bisu. 6 kills on that Zealot as well, and now like a few factories being thrown down with a bunker in desperation on this ramp and a SCV to block, but I don't think this is going to be enough. I think Light could just die here potentially.
Yeah, Light is just struggling so hard right now. He's got 1 Marine on this high ground. If he loses that Marine, he's going to have nothing for this bunker, okay? He does finish that up. He will get something in the bunker at least. But his barracks in the top right is still producing Marines. They're not going to be able to make it home. They're not going to be able to deal damage. Dragoons are out here in the face of Light, and he's just getting into his factory production now. Starting up that first tank, starting up that first vulture. Some Dragoons trying to run up the ramp here, maybe try to run by that bunker. Nice block with the SCV, but another SCV goes down, and no damage here. No lost Dragoons from Bisu. He's gonna get up here, get another SCV. This is getting worse and worse as time goes on.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any way that Light can win from this position. There, obviously, if Bisu were to throw the game and do some kind of serious blunder, Light could then win the game. But I think from this position, we should see a very carefully choreographed game from Bisu, where he tries to maximize his chances of winning. Very similar to how we saw earlier with Queen and Best on that map Retro, where Queen very slowly dismantled the Protoss player very methodically and not really giving any room for counterplay to make sure that that win chance was just as maximally effective as possible. And he will probably be doing the same sort of thing here. We will be seeing Light not really having much of a chance to come back into this game unless Bisu does some kind of crazy blunder, which I don't think he's necessarily going to be doing.
Can't come down this ramp right now. 4 Dragoons are waiting. They're gonna 2-shot those tanks. So Light not even able to take his own low ground just yet. He's gonna slowly move forward here to try and take his natural. He really needs to get this base down, but you know, Bisu forcing him to stay on one base as long as possible. And yeah, the amount of an advantage that Bisu has right now is pretty close to insurmountable. He's gonna have such a hard time coming back in this game, and Bisu not gonna give him any quarter here, making sure that he has all of his T's crossed, his I's dotted. With the shuttle coming out, he's prepared for this push that's coming across the map here. A lot of Marines with this, couple of vultures, a few tanks, and a few SCVs. Can he break Bisu here? I don't think it's possible. Nearly double the supply is Bisu right now, with a lot of Dragoons and Zealots ready to go. That shuttle going to be bombing Zealots onto these tanks. This is going to be ridiculous if Light manages to make this work. The odds are against him. Here we go, coming into the natural now.
Yeah, this is really tough of him to do. Here comes mines from behind, though. If he could somehow set up some mines from behind these Dragoons, a lot of these Dragoons could fall in short order. Another few good detonations on these Dragoons could spell disaster for Bisu. So far, these 3 tanks are doing a good job of doing some damage as well. But how comes the Reaver Scarab going to be making short work of these tanks? Wham, bam, shazam. All those tanks going to be mopped up. GG is called from Light. Bisu in a phenomenal position. You're going to just absolutely destroying Light in this game.
Bisu clutches up there against Light, takes him down, and now moving on to Hero. And this should be a fantastic match as well. Much anticipated by Shun and myself. Hero versus Bisu here on La Campanella. That's going to be a fun match. I can see this is a pretty crazy map. There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, and you know, Bisu's a veteran. He's had his military service long fulfilled by now. He's got all the time in the world if he wants to. Just keep playing StarCraft for the next 10, 20 years, and we'll keep this retro RTS alive, long and kicking, and we can have lots of these great games in the future. And we need people like Bisu to keep that mantle and keep that flame glowing bright, I think. And someone of his caliber certainly can do that and keep the game exciting for us. Mere mortals watching these gods go at it. So
yeah, absolutely. Now, mentioning this map, we've got the cross shape in the middle. It's a Catholic map. I don't know what the reasoning is behind that, but or how that's actually going to be used if anyone's ever going to mine those minerals in the middle, but they are there. There's like a very strange natural base that I'd like to mention is that when you take your natural, there's like that mineral patch at the bottom of the minerals that can be that has less minerals, and once it's mined out, you can actually go over. Oh, he's gonna go behind. Oh, this is gonna be a cannon rush.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so interesting. He's gonna cannon rush this with cannons behind the minerals. You can see there's a lot of space here, and then above this, there's actually a base. He's gonna force a drone through. Drone's gonna come back here. Actually, 2 drones are gonna try to get back here. He's gonna get 2 drones back here, so this probe will be shut down. Not much that Bisu can do about that. He lets the pylon finish there, but he has forced these drones back here. These drones aren't really gonna be able to do anything. Aside from actually take a base at that location. Maybe he's gonna come over here and force 1 drone over the wall. Yeah, I think that's what he's gonna try to do. Get 1 drone back over the mineral patches, and then use the other drone to take that 3rd base in this back area. But you know, this probe is still here. It's still a threat. If you hop this drone over, then the other drone can go for the base, but then we can cannon rush that 3rd base as well.
Yeah, this is the tough situation that we have. Is this little mini game going on here where he's trying to cannon rush us back, and if he wants to shuffle this drone back over the line, but he needs to buy enough time to stop the probe from coming back. They can get these lings out to then put a clock on the pylon, so that he can't just cannon rush them back again. So now that we see these 2 lings come out, now finally he can try and take that 3rd base with that drone and send the other one back. So it was a little bit of an awkward situation where he couldn't go over the line back in time. And the reason why he needed 2 drones to begin with is because you can't fight 1v1 with a probe. You need 2 hits for free on that probe before you can then kill it with the drone. If you cannot get those 2 hits for free on the probe and reduces shield hit points before the engagement starts and the probe starts shooting you back with the particle beam, you will not win that 1v1 fight. So probes are kind of OP against drones in that regard. So really tough to do with these little early game shenanigans. So you definitely need 2 drones to be drilled back there, but unfortunately for him, that's going to be a little bit of a game that Bisu kind of came out ahead of, because even though the cannon rush was a little bit unsuccessful, he did kind of mess up the early game of Hero here, I think. So I think luckily for Hero, he's dealt with this probably the best case scenario for him. He hasn't really lost too much, and he's hit his timings despite this early game shenanigans. So it's looking pretty okay for Hero so far, as long as he doesn't lose any drones to like the Zealot pressure coming up.
Yeah, he managed to clear that out without losing too much. He's also managed to hop 1 ling over the wall to deal with this probe, and the probe can't actually get in and do any real scouting. It can't scout the main or anything like that. This mineral field here at the bottom will eventually be mined, and then the drone can get back to work once again. A 3rd base is over here at the top left. That's actually a very far 3rd base to take. I'm surprised he wanted to take that one instead of taking this back 3rd base, the one that his drone is already in position actually behind the minerals to take. Double Stargate here from Bisu, huh?
Interesting, yeah. It seems like, and yeah, he's already got that +1 on the way as well. And I guess with these positions, he has a direct line into the main base of the Zerg. I guess there's no reason why he shouldn't go for double Stargate here. I'm not sure if it's the most optimal choice possible on this map. I've not seen this map enough to know for sure. One thing I would like to say quickly about this this map, while we get the Zealot caught behind the back of the mineral line here, he looks like he's going to try and commit to killing this, but beautiful micro from Bisu going to make it very difficult for him to get that for free. So eventually does get that that Zealot, but nice control from both sides. One thing I would say is the middle of the map, this cross you said about I wonder if people are going to mine it out. Well, look at Retro. Even though you have this like weird base in the middle of the map, there are some situations where Terran players, for example, need just that little bit extra juice, but they don't want to take one of these corner expansions because it's too risky to do so. So they want just a little bit of extra trickle of minerals to squeeze out more and more vultures from their factory counts and such. So sometimes you do see these bases being taken in very nuanced situations. I don't think we're going to see it here in this matchup, though.
That's a pretty rare case where the Zerg and Protoss both mine out the entire map, and then we have a situation where that base is actually going to matter. No units over here at this location, unfortunately, for Hero. I'm gonna have to run away these drones and eventually bring Lings up to deal with this. Hiding in between the hatcheries here, only allowing one Ling to attack that Zealot at the time. That's a little bit annoying, but it looks like he will clean that out. Oh, gets about 3 kills there. Coming into scout, he sees the number of Corsairs, so he realizes what's coming. But how many Overlords is Hero gonna lose here while the Corsairs come into the natural? Zealots are going to head over towards that third base. About 3 Zealots are heading up there. There's not really much on the field to deal with them. Just a few Lings. Hydras are starting to pump out, but he's completely supply blocked. He's not able to produce anything right now. You're in a bit of trouble.
Hero's in a lot of trouble right now, and these Zealots are also going to get on top of these Hydras that are going to have to try and defend against these Corsairs. So not even putting out any DPS onto these Corsairs as well. I'm going to try and move out with these guns down. All of the Scourge does Bisu. None of those Scourge connected. Now also supply blocks. Just now a few Overlords starting to finish up, but more and more Overlords dying in the top left as well. So going back into being supply blocked just as those Overlords start to finish up. Another Overlord did finish up just now, but now still 45, not able to produce anything. No more Scourge, no more Hydras. A few drones were able to be squoze out in during that time, but not really enough to make up for this deficit. A few Overlords starting to hatch in the natural. There's not enough anti-air to stop these Corsairs going to town right now. Bisu in a pretty commanding position, going to be slowly trickling up more and more of these Corsairs as well. Coming into natural expansion, starting to gun down more of those Overlords with those neutron flares. Really devastating and pulling apart Hero. Hero is a very experienced veteran caliber player himself, so it's really surprising that Bisu is able to pull someone like him apart like this. But this is Bisu we're talking about. This isn't no slouch. This is the guy that revolutionized this matchup, coming into natural, taking out more of these Overlords over and over again. Really methodical, really masterclass stuff this there.
Showing us exactly how to play this 2 Stargate style. He's keeping active on the map with the Corsairs. Back at home, he's got plenty of cannons here, just in case there was a Mutalisk, amount of Mutalisk coming out to harass him. He hasn't had to deal with that, though, this game. I think that Best should be taking notes right now. Oh, gets a couple of Corsairs. Picking them off with the Scourge, so not the greatest control in that situation, but Bisu still has, what, 6-7 Corsairs here. He's still going to be able to pick off Overlords. Enough Hydras, though, have popped out now that Hero should be safe, at least for the time being. Now, with the Zealots coming in, though, this is a different story. Zealots are going to distract the Hydras, and the Corsairs are going to come in and kill a lot of these Overlords once again. We have +1 armor on these Overlords, so that is something. Good positioning here with the Hydras as well, and he will force this back. Very nicely done by Hero.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to point out is that Hero is actually lava tricking his lava to the left-hand side of the hatchery to force a SimCity block with those morphing eggs. So he was manually controlling the positioning of his lava to make sure there was no surface area for those Zealots to come in there. So I really like that Hero went the extra mile there with that lava trick to make sure there's no way these units could come into that little tiny choke there. The lava's already popping out on the left-hand side, and if you lava trick it up, you can also block this gap. I'm not sure if he intentionally lava tricked up into position there, but it's really well understood from him, knowing exactly how to best use the hatchery production and location to its full effectiveness. And it's really crazy how much more Zealots you can kill with just a little bit of SimCity in. But Psionic Storm is going to completely devastate this position, breaking it open. Another beautiful storm going to soften up those Hydras. Now here come the stream of Zealots slipping through that gap. The gate has been breached. Now beautiful beautiful drill, though, from Hero, going to buy some time for these Hydras. But meanwhile, the Overlord's being gunned down by these neutron flares of these Corsairs, and going to be maybe supply blocking him deeper and deeper into a hole.
The Zealots are getting to work on some of these drones as well. Zealots here in the main have been mostly cleaned up. This one very, very low, just 1 HP and 4 kills will finally be taken down. And I think that we're going to see a Hero stabilize here. That was a very dicey moment with the storms coming in at the perfect timing there. Hero was just popping out some drones. He was just getting some of his production going again. When that attack came in, it was a little bit sooner than he had anticipated, but he did a great job of bringing his Hydras up from the third base to defend. And here comes a drop actually coming around the map. That base, meanwhile, in the back of this natural is going to be taken by Bisu. Oh, we've got Scourge ready to go. This is a slow shuttle. He should be able to pick this off. Here we go. He turns. He turns. He sees it. Oh, does he see it? Okay, he does see it. He's going to pick off the shuttle, but the DT managed to slip out. It's not going to get into the main, but at least it's still alive. It's going to be blocking the space down here at the 6 o'clock.
Yeah, going to be momentarily coming in to clean that up. A bit unfortunate for Bisu there that he wasn't able to react quickly enough, that he stayed outside of the Scourge range. He kind of reacted slowly, kind of went in range of the Scourge, and then also moved into the vision range of the other Scourge, and just doubly making sure that there was no hope that Hero didn't see that. So yeah, unfortunately him not going to be successful in this endeavor, but it's going to be coming onto the middle of the map now. Overlord's going to be spotting the exact location of this Protoss infantry. Now going to be trying to move forward with the Hydras to pincer the front, lay out some storms. So now the skirmish begins. There's only 4 High Templars here, so if he can bait out a few storms, he will be able to swallow up this army in short order. So we'll be trying to keep skirmishing with Bisu now in hot retreat with these units, but could be losing some of them to the pursuing Hydras. Needs to be careful on both sides. You don't want to overextend with the Hydras and get stormed. You don't want to be too hasty in your withdrawal as Protoss and risk losing some of those straggling units. So a little bit of a jostleable position in this middle of the map between these two players.
Gonna pop forward here, pick off one of these Dragoons. Dragoons are the most important unit in this fight right now, because we do have the Lurker line spread out in the middle of the map between the cross and the southern threshold. This is a wide Lurker line for Bisu to try and push through. So for now, he's just gonna sit back, get his third base up and mining, maybe go ahead and take a fourth over at the center right there. While we don't see a fourth just yet coming up. Oh wait, fourth for Hero over there at the top left. Looks like he's found a location that's not well defended here. As the Hydras come up, we're going to drop the storms on them. Running forward here actually is a Hero, diving on top of as many of these goons as he can before backing away. Another round of Lurker going to come up to the front. Oh, this is way too stacked up. He's got a oh god, that was scary. Probably another storm going to come down on these lower Lurkers though, and so many of them are going to be killed. This is one way to quickly lose a game against Protoss, is stacking your Lurkers up too much and losing all of them to just a couple of storms. He's being forced back here. There's still a lot of Zealots and almost no Lurkers in this army. Hero is starting to fall apart a little bit here.
Yeah, Hero basically moved its army to the northern threshold, anticipating a shuffle from Bisu to the north vertical axis, but instead Bisu just kind of like waited a little bit and pushed horizontally into the Lurkers that were then left exposed. So Hero kind of like metagamed himself there, should have like reconfirmed the exact location of the army with some Overlord scouting or what have you, and kind of like baited himself there. We see a little bit of a potential play over here though, some Overlords unloading a little bit of units down here to kind of skirmish and harass this natural expansion. Maybe something can be done here. They can come into this third base and maybe kill the Nexus, or at least do something to deny some of the mining here. I'm not sure exactly if he's going to be successful or not. It looks like he might actually be able to kill the Nexus if he progresses. But right now, Bisu's got such a large army in the middle of the map. He needs to be careful. The hero can just get swallowed up. But right now, pretty good surface area on these Hydras, targeting down this Archon as well. There's quite a few High Templars here, like about four High Templars in this army, with a lot of Dragoons and a lot of Zealots, but mostly Zealots in this army. So these Lurkers need to be targeted targeted down, have any hope at trading efficiently with this forces. And there's only a few lurkers still remaining, so now Bisu surging forward, can target down those remaining lurkers, pops them all in short order, and now we'll start mopping up the remaining Hydra of Hero as well. Bisu's looking in a very commanding position, around 149 supplies to 75, looking really good. Has 2 observers here that haven't yet been sniped as well. Hero's done not really much of any effort of sniping these observers, and now it's too late. There's not even any lurkers waiting in the wings to even want to snipe these observers, saying, I don't think he can hold here.
Well, he's going to drop a few lurker eggs in between the buildings, try to buy as much time as possible, but he's going to be targeting down that Hydra's Den. Hydra's Den falls. No more Hydras for Hero for now, and that was a great drop to deny the third base. The third base is dead, but it does not matter because Bisu is shoving through here into the natural. He's killing so much. He's going to get this natural base, and there's nothing that Hero can do about it right now. He's bringing up more Hydra, but it's just not going to be enough. Another round of Zealots is making its way across the map to support this position. Going to be able to pincer at these Hydras, and GG, Bisu takes down Hero. Wow, what an impressive win there. Felt like Hero was going to be able to hold on and take that game with the drop play being so successful, but the 2 Stargate early game cleaned up so many overlords. Made it incredibly hard for Hero to come back. He did his best, but that overwhelming push there, managing to smash his face, managing to smash through that natural and take him down. Really, really good showing here from Bisu so far, and he's got one more game to get through. Then he can take the win here for Protoss. Royal waiting in the wings, up to the challenge here, I think. Looking to grab those 2 points for the Terran squad. Gonna find out the final result here. Coming right up. Kicking off our final game of the night. Royal versus Bisu. Guys, it's been a pleasure casting for you today. I'd like to shout out our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support. Guys, if you have the time, make sure to check out the description down below. Go and watch some Shuncast. We definitely appreciate him sticking with us throughout these casts here in the previous few seasons of ASL. So his link will be in the description down below. You can check out his live stream, and if you can support, links are down there as well. So let's get into this one. We are on Polypoid here, so the most standard map, gonna be our last map of the night.
Yeah, and already going to be throwing down this 11 racks in the natural as well is Royal, so going to be going for probably a bunker expand and wanting to take a very quick CC, using the early wall in to make sure he's safe against any kind of pressure counterplay from Bisu as well. I'm not sure how Bisu fares in PvT in these days compared to his earlier career, so I'm not sure if like Bisu's like kind of caught up to the meta enough to take on someone of Royal's caliber and have a really strong chance of winning. But it's still Bisu, so I'm sure he's got a very good plan in mind for Royal going forward here. But he's not going to be able to get the gas steal at all. So it's like Royal decides, like, I'm not even going to want to take my fast command center. I'm just going to instead just do a more standard play where I'm getting a slightly delayed gas and going to be taking that more delayed command center, just using this forward barracks position to have like a microball, a hole to defend against any zealot pressure and kind of be safe that way. Maybe even be able to get away from having to make a bunker for a little bit longer as well in the early game phase. It does confirm that range upgrade on the way with his SCV scout as well. And sees there's 3 probes on gas as well, so might be indicative of a robo coming up soon.
Yeah, it looks like Royal just gonna mine with the 1 SCV here on gas, just making sure that he can get the command center out as soon as possible. It's pretty much a gasless fast expand, except for that probe came in, so he decided he needed to throw that down. just to make sure that that didn't get stolen. But he's not really mining off of that to get a factory going. He's just you know, slowly building up that gas count over time, and it looks like he'll have just enough here to throw down his factory when he's ready with that 200 minerals. So everything working out pretty nicely here for Royal. He doesn't have the bunker, as you said before. Bunker is quite late here, and the Goon is actually almost at the front. It doesn't have range, so it can't really fight Marines that well, but it's gonna come up here and start to harass a little bit. If he targets down that one Marine, oh, no target on that center Marine. I was thinking he might go after one Marine, but not able to target that down, and so the bunker will finish, and this is going to be held. So really nice opener here for Royal. Bisu starting his Nexus, but the command center is nearly done, so I'm liking Royal's position.
Yeah, I'm liking Royal's position a lot too. I'm really confused by Bisu actually. I'm not sure if he had an optimization issue or not, but he took one off of gas only just recently. But I'm not sure if that was a decision-making issue where he wanted to have the gas available depending on what he scouted and then maybe throw down a very quick robo or not, but before his Nexus. But I don't think that makes sense. I think there might have been a small optimization issue there where he maybe was mining gas a little bit longer than he needed to and could have been squeezing out this Nexus a little bit quicker. I'm not sure that's an optimization issue or a decision tree issue where he like was going to do something and then had to change and adjust that based on what he scouted from Royal. I'm not too sure about that, but I think there might have been a small optimization mistake from Bisu going forward here. So slightly delayed Nexus, going to be putting him even further behind in this economic curve of the game.
And that SCV is slipping around the left-hand side there. Royal sneaking it into the main. He saw everything. Really lifting up the skirt of Bisu here and getting himself a nice little look-see. All the information he wants, and should be able to react to everything that Bisu's doing. Sends the SCV all the way down to the bottom right. Bisu putting a pylon at 12 o'clock. What do you think that pylon's for? Is he gonna put something up there on the high ground and try to do something weird? I don't know. It seems way too late now.
I don't think so. I think that's just a spotter pylon to maybe see like a potential vulture drop coming out from that angle, because it's very unlikely that he'll want to vulture drop like on a straight diagonal vertical axis all the way down into the natural. He'd be more likely to want to maybe send it around the whole edge of the map first. So he's very likely to send his dropship out along that 12 o'clock axis. So it's likely he was anticipating a potential vulture drop around this sort of time and wanted to make sure he had a spotter pylon there just to mitigate that risk.
Right, and maybe force the command center, if it's going to be built over there at the top center, to be placed off and then lifted and moved. I don't know. I guess it's a good idea. If there actually was a drop coming, it might have actually been able to spot it, but it's a little bit strange.
Well, the idea is that the observer comes from the left and spots that direction, and the pylon spots the other direction. So you're covering both directions because of your early robo timing. And look at how fast this robo finished. He's actually able to get inside the turret ring, which is what I was talking about earlier with his the way Bisu was lining up his build seemed very indicative that he wanted to go for that really crazy early robo, and he did do that. And this has actually paid off for Bisu. He's got the observer inside the turret ring, which is huge for him. He sees everything right now. He sees the exact timings of Royal's buildings, his upgrades, everything, which means now Bisu can calibrate his build to not only be greedy enough to combat what Royal has done and got that early economic edge, but will also now maybe be able to slightly line himself up to come back in this game with exactly his own tech timings and exact amount of units that he will make and when. So now the kind of keys are in Bisu's hands, and he can kind of drive the car where he wants to now. But Royal is still in a very solid economic position going forward. Just will not be able to have enough to do anything out on the map for the time being. So Bisu's in a very commanding position in terms of how he progresses forward, and will be taking this early 4th base as a way of counteracting what he scouted with that observer as well.
Oh, Royal doing what he can to still hide his build despite having the observer in his base. He's placed a starport down at the bottom left corner of his base next to the turret, and the observer hasn't gotten down there, so starport has gone unscouted. We may end up seeing a drop come in and have a bit of success here, because Bisu thinks he knows that he sees everything, but he actually doesn't. The science facility being placed down here as well. Not seeing a science facility or a starport. Bisu may be thinking that a 5 factory timing is coming with +1 attack here, but this is actually a long-term play. We're gonna have a drop, and then we're gonna have +2 started the moment that +1 is done, and we're gonna see a third, maybe even a fourth here out of Royal.
Yeah. How do you feel about this game going forward? I feel like Bisu's going to be wanting to get these Reavers out and really slow down the potential push timings and move out timings from the Terran player here, but also taking up like crazy himself. I mean, getting this 4th gas finished at 9 minutes and starting to mine from it right away. Sorry, his 3rd gas, but his 4th base is finished at 9 minutes. This is like crazy fast timing. Usually a lot of Protoss players are starting their 4th base at this time, not finishing it at this time. And now we got to drop in the main base with a Reaver and a Zealot. Big detonation on those SCVs, 4 going down right away. Shuttle now rotating over to the natural expansion area as well, but wasn't necessarily the best case scenario for Bisu there. Not really the exact kind of situation he wanted from that. Could have done a lot more damage with this play, I think, going forward, but is now going to be letting Royal come out into this 3rd base high ground area. Now, this area is both really important strategically from both defensive potential, but also the fact that he needs to secure this 3rd base right now and increase his mineral production so he can get a lot more vultures out onto the map. We also see a big scan coming down into the main base of Bisu, going to be confirming those Stargate timings as well.
Another shuttle gonna fly in here to the main. Oh, but he loses it immediately. Not able to drop a Reaver or anything. Just a single Dragoon pops out. So excellent defense there with the Wraith and the turret to shut that play down. And with losing 2 shuttles and, going for the super early 4th base, there's not a lot of army supply out here for Bisu, and Royal is just going to unsiege and move forward with his tanks. That's still a lot of Dragoons, but this is so much DPS with the tanks. Dragoons are just gonna get shoved straight back here, and Royal gonna get himself a nice little position outside of the natural to rally to here. This is so far forward. He hasn't been slowed down at all because there are no Reavers left over to slow this push down, and now he's gonna lose this Reaver as well. Reaver gets focused down. Zealots are gonna die here to these vultures. The tanks are targeting onto those Dragoons. Nice unsiege there to prevent himself from dealing any damage to his own tanks with the splash. 3 Stargates are coming up here, but they're not gonna pop out any carriers in time. This is calamity right now for Bisu. He's gonna be really regretting throwing away those Reavers into the main base here. Tanks are sieged up right in the natural, and GG taps out. God. Royal just so quick on the draw there. Takes the 3rd base and pushes simultaneously. Smashes through Bisu's army. Takes that game away. Super impressive play there from Royal. A little bit disappointing out of Bisu. Here are your point rankings for this week. We've got Terran pulling ahead, climbing straight up in these past 3 weeks. 3 straight consecutive victories here. The Royal clutching out that last game. And that last game, what was Bisu thinking there, man? What happened?
Yeah, I'm not too sure with his rationality there. I'm sure it was more of a case of he wanted to have his cake and eat it. All he needs to worry about in this situation while he's transitioning into carries is just the slowdown. And yes, he could maybe dive into the main base to drop a Zealot on top of the turret to maybe open up the position a little bit, to put some pressure to keep the Terran in his base just a little bit longer, but even that would be slightly unnecessary at that junction of the game. Right now, he just needed to slow down, keep those Reavers ready to delay the push as much as possible, force the siege tanks to have to siege over and over again, and picking up the siege tank here and there as he goes would have bought him so much time, and maybe even helped him just win the game from there. All he had to do was slow down Royal in that position, and wasn't able to do so. It kind of felt like, I guess, he was trying to do too much. I don't know really what he's thinking.
Yeah, let's tally up what he was trying to do there. He took 4 bases, built 3 Stargates, was building 3 carriers at a time, and he tried to drop Reavers in the main twice. That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on. The generally understood way of getting into carrier is you need Reavers to sort of defend you and hold off the push, slow things down, and that push was not slowed down even in the slightest there. I mean, you could see that the Dragoons were trying to force a siege, but he just wasn't having it. He just unsieged everything and moved forward. A very simple, straightforward victory there for Royal to clutch out that series. Zergs, what is happening with Zerg, man? How come they are flatlining here in week 4?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a lackluster performance. I'm kind of worried that Zerg are maybe relegating themselves too early on in this week. Like they maybe had a bad week 1 and 2. They kind of bounced back a little bit, I guess, but not enough. And I'm worried that they're going to start relegating themselves into this okay, we're definitely not going to get first, so let's just chill and we'll fight Protoss for the final spot. But there's no way we're going to be able to catch up to Terran. And meanwhile, Protoss are going to be thinking to themselves okay, well we're still in the running here. We're trailing behind them by a couple of points, a couple of good weeks, so maybe we can take that spot away from Terran. But I really don't think Zerg are going to have much hope of getting that first spot anymore, right? It's going to look like they're going to have to be fighting the up one for the final spot. I don't think they can do it, Sam.
I'm not sure. I feel like none of the Zerg players are really breakaway stars right now, whereas we've got these crazy breakout heroes on Terran and Protoss. Salak has been carrying so hard. Light is doing fantastic right now. Bisu is on another level. Snow is doing amazingly well as well. There's just so many names here on the Terran and Protoss squad. People who are really coming into their own and showing us some incredible play. I just don't see that on the Zerg squad right now. I don't see anyone who stands out to me as just, someone who can carry this Zerg squad, someone who can really pull through for the Zerg team. We don't have Soma this week. I think Soma may be the one person that I'd be looking to, but he wasn't even on the squad this week. So
one thing I would like to say as well is I'd hope that Hero would be that guy. I hoped Hero would be the guy to come back and be okay, let me show you some tried and true Zerg style, pick up some wins and give some confidence to the Zerg lineup. But he actually looked a little bit shaky and indecisive in his game against Bisu and kind of outmaneuvered himself. Just anticipated Bisu would rotate up to the northern threshold and just abandon his entire lurker line of his Hydra Force and just allowed Bisu to come across and just absolutely wipe that out, and then was able to trade efficiently because he was so zealot heavy at that time. So I was kind of shocked that someone of Hero's caliber it was able to be dismantled in such a fashion.
Bisu with the 2-base push, more than enough to break through and win. It can be very, very close in some of these ZVP games. As you break through, suddenly it looks like Protoss was going to win the whole time, right? And sometimes when the Protoss tries to break through and they can't, it's you are never going to get through that. But it really does turn kind of suddenly in one person's favor or the other, depending on the actual positioning, the engagement, how many Dragoons there are, how many Lurkers there are, how the storms land. Suddenly it can go one way or another, and in that case it went in favor of Bisu. Anyway, guys, that's all. Do you have anything left that you want to talk about here, Shun, before we go?
No, thanks for having me, guys. Always a pleasure casting here with Sayan or KCM. I hope to be back next week, and I hope you guys enjoyed the cast.
All right, and with that, guys, this has been your daily dose of Broodwar. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.